Okay, where's my...
Greetings and welcome to Office Hours with Dr. G. I'm your host, Dr. G, and I'm so glad you can keep this appointment. Tonight's guest is Sabir Bey, aka the Traveling Moor. He is a film writer, producer, historian, and radio personality whose passion is traveling the globe and gaining knowledge of the hidden legacy of the aboriginal and indigenous peoples of the world. Sabir's love for wisdom and knowledge has led him overseas from Portugal to France. A member of the Zulu Nation and growing up during its inception, Sabir proficiently breaks down the origins and language of hip hop while pointing the way to becoming a productive member of society through music and other elements of the art. Hence, he rightly was given the title of the Fifth Element of HipHop by one of its leading pioneers, Afrika Bambatta. With an 18-year track record on several radio stations around the continent, from WKDU in Philadelphia to RMC in LA, Sabir is a natural at what he does. He brings real edutainment to any platform on which his voice is heard, bringing together law, civics, and history to explain today's hot topics. Now, tonight, among other subjects, we will really touch on a subject that is painfully near and dear to Sabir's heart, and that is that of saving our sons. I want you to help me welcome to Office Hours with Dr. G, Brother Sabir Bey, the Traveling Moor.
Peace, peace, peace.
Peace, peace.
What's up?
Well, see, here's the tradition. If the music doesn't go out by the time I finish your thing, you have to rock to.
I gotta rock with it.
You gotta rock with it.
Gotta get some other music though, man. We got you know.
That's the theme song now.
We gotta get to a better theme. So I'm gonna get you one.
You gotta leave my theme song alone.
I'm gonna produce one for you. It's gonna be dope. I'm gonna get one for you. It's gonna be fire.
Listen.
What's up? I like
welcome. We got a little bit more, and because I haven't figured out how to turn it off, so we just let it run. I want to. Here we go. Well, thank you. I want to welcome you to Office Hours with Dr. G. You and I go back now. It's probably as long as I've known Grand Sheik, which is about 9 years now, and I am grateful. There was many times since I've started this show, I've looked in the comments and folks would be saying, "Where's Sabir? Why have you had Sabir on?" And as it would be, we have gotten to this point. Sadly, things have happened over the last, not things, but you've had some painful things, and I know it's still very painful and very, very raw with you. But I want to say from myself, and I'm sure from all of the viewers who are watching and listening, and those who will see this afterwards, our sincere, and I mean heartfelt condolences go out to you in the loss of your son, Amir. We really, and I know if it gets you, we understand, we understand. But
again, I'm just being real. It's like I feel it. But yeah, thank you.
Of course, of course, of course, and so you and I had a lengthy conversation a couple weeks ago, week and a half or so ago, and we talked about some of what we will probably touch on today. But I'm just going to let you know, and I don't even know if the viewers or listeners know that mainly what I do with my guests is have a conversation or conversations, prior to the show, so that when we actually have our interview, I can just flow, and I don't read off of cue cards, and I don't make notes. I'm spontaneous, and so everything I say comes direct at the time, and I think that's the best way, because I'm just we're not doing a scripted show, so I want you all to know that. So while Sabir will be right back with us.
I had to find something. I'm gonna
Yeah.
show something for everybody so I can show y'all how far back and how my son Amir was raised basically in all of this. This is a picture of my son right there. I don't know if you can see that.
We can see it. Yeah, we can see it
That's Amir
here in the
with
red.
Bay from 2000. What's this, from 2003? That's Amir. So my son was basically raised in this knowledge, but again, sometimes it's like out of sight, out of mind. But Amir been around a lot of people, and a lot of people in this movement also. So thank you again for your condolences.
Yes, and this is, I wanted to look up, we get statistics, they say this, that, and the third, and we don't always get the real deal as to what is what. But I wanted to do a search. I was doing a search about and pulled up something about, it says it's called The Truth About Black Deaths. And this article apparently goes back to 2019, and it actually is really looking at 2017 CDC reports. And they were saying, and I know the difference in colorable language, but I'm reading what it says here. It says leading causes for 2017 reports for American non-Hispanic black males of all ages: assault, homicide as the fourth most common cause of death, representing 5% of all deaths. But it says tragically, and I don't know why it says that, but then the next paragraph says tragically, homicide is the number 2 cause of death for black male children ages 1 to 14. Even among, it talks about babies and toddlers and so forth. And it says the homicide rises to number 1 for males ages 15 to 34.
Wow.
So it was asking about what percentage of these were by police, but they also go on to say that even if, let me get this though, wait a minute. One of the things they say is that most of these deaths though are taking place at the hands of other males, melanated males.
I can see that.
Yeah. And so when saving our sons is an SOS. It says it's SOS. And there's a lot of things, we could probably try to lay the blame for a lot of reasons why things are going on. And you and I have discussed.
Yeah, we did.
We discussed some things, and so I don't want to hog the time, but I want to give you some your space to talk and address. You're always addressing the us with your, you've got your facts laid out, your books and highlighting them. But this is real life. I mean, this is real, like you say, real rap.
Real rap.
Yeah, this is real rap, and I want to give you the opportunity to address or the situation from your standpoint in any way you want, and at any time. I'm going to be really delicate, because I don't want to bring up anything that's it's painful enough. But we're trying to save other sons. Sometimes they're sacrificial lambs in a sense, just from the standpoint of then it has to be used to keep others from going the same way.
Exactly. And I thank you, because it's Me personally, growing up in South Philly, I can see those stats. And what saved me when I was 19, I'm gonna tell you people, I was 19 years old. I was hustling at the age of 15, 16 years old. So I can relate to all of that. I was shot. My first time I was shot was I was 19 years old, 18, 19 years old when I first got shot. And actually I died, to tell you the truth. And that's a lot of pressure on my mom. And it's 5 boys, so we put a lot of stuff on my mom, at the time. So, and I lost my brother when I was 10. He was 25 years old. He was killed. So, just to see this, you don't really see it when you in it. You know what I mean? Like, because you're so a part of, trying to keep up. And we didn't have to do that in my family. But when my brother got killed when we were younger, my mother put us out and said, "Let me show you who your real friends are." And because she was from the old school. You know what I mean? She didn't let nobody watch us. She didn't let nobody do any of that. But when my brother got killed when I was 10 and he was 25, my mother said, "Let me let you out, let y'all see what the world is like." When she let us go, it was like crazy. Like we went crazy. You know what I mean? Like we wanted to be part of something. We was into everything in Philadelphia. And it wasn't nobody that was there, even though my father was in the house, but the first time I was shot, I was out in Wilson Projects and I got in a shootout, and got hit with a 30-30. And again, the only thing that got me out of all of this is when I went into the Nation of Islam when I was younger. And I didn't like that that's when I left and got shot. Cause I was, had 1 foot in, 1 foot out of, I don't want to be that disciplined. So I understand some of these cats, they don't want, they don't even want this information with the Moors because there's nothing coming out of it. You know what I mean? So I don't want to be disciplined. So I was playing both sides and say, eventually I said, I'm going to leave. So my sister said, yes, it's so true. You got shot, because I'm on Facebook. She said, yes, that's so true. You got shot. And I cried, like she said, I cried. But that was the first time. But I understand these young brothers, even the conversation I had with my son, not for him to go in the same path that I was in. You know what I mean? So, and then I turned around and got shot again because I went back into the streets, but nobody was talking to us. You see what I'm saying? Nobody was saying, yo, this is not what you want to do. And when I really got away from all this is when I came into this movement, this Moorish movement. And when you get into this, it keeps you so busy that you don't think about anything else. And that's what I was trying to get my son Amir to. I was trying not to force that on him, but I was trying to be there, even though we were in 2 different states. I was trying to get him there to see. But I would have conversations with both of my sons, and they was like, I don't want to hear none of this, because that's not putting no money in my pocket. What is this getting me from saying I'm a Moor? It was a whole lot that was going on with my sons when I would deal with them. Amir got shot last summer in his leg. This year he got killed. So it was like trying to fight to save him. You know what I mean? But he was 22. We all was that age. We think we grown. So now I'm like, if I could save one person, and one of these young cats, I did my job. Because that's a hell of a pain to go through, losing.
Absolutely, and losing a child tragically. And let's go back a bit, because I read a book called They Stole It years ago. They Stole It, but You Must Restore It, Return It. And I remember one of the things in that book talked about self-fulfilling prophecy as it dealt with us. It was, at the time I wasn't in the aware of the Moorish movement. It was more of a Black thing, and it was about those that who stole our legacy and who put into us certain mindsets. So and they talked about, after a while you start the process, but then it becomes ingrained, and those people who are now subjugated begin to, almost like we say, it's a part of our DNA. Yeah. And then we pass that on. And so just from what you just said, and this is no shade against you, from no black marking, but it's just the way oftentimes it goes. You yourself were raised in a good environment, yet you were experienced violence to the extent that you were shot not once but twice. Now the first time, and you were shot multiple times during the at least one of the shootings, and you transitioned. So you've been on the other side and you came back, and now your son You know,
Same
your
way.
has the same experience, except the second time, it was as it has it ended. But from a standpoint of, one would have to look and say, wait a minute. And then I think your brother,
Yeah, my brother was killed at 25 and I was 10.
and he was shot also.
Shot in his head, shot in his chest.
Right. So in in your family, what you know of now, you don't even may not even know what may or may not have happened in other generations of your family tree, but you here right here in your generation and your son's generation, you see two, three shootings, actually five shootings, which resulted in two murders.
But you know what is funny? Like, it's not funny that when I sat back and thought about everything that happened, and that's why I don't do memorials like that. You know how people put flowers outside, because people would say to me, well, you don't want to do memorial, put flowers, and Teddy, I didn't want to do that. I wanted my son's, spirit to leave peacefully.
Right.
I didn't want it to linger. Because again, I understand life and death. Like I had to sit back and really think about how and where my son got shot. He got shot in his head. He got shot 10 times. I got shot 5 times. He got shot in his head. He got shot in his, in his body, chest. My brother got shot in his head and got shot in his chest. So I'm looking at all these,
parallels.
Like how, like, and my son, when he got shot last year, he got shot in his leg and had a rod in his leg. Like I have a rod in my leg from being shot, So I'm looking at this like, and that's what I was trying to save my son from being. But I understand the streets of Philadelphia. I know that it can call you. You want to be something that you're not, and it's not. And that's what I was trying to save him from being.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you don't want to be that. You should. This is what I went through. That's not what you want, But again, it's like, out of sight, out of mind, man. And it's hard. It's hard.
Almost definitely. And I know you know Philadelphia, but I live in a very small town, and in this very small town, which we've been in rap songs. If you were square from Delaware, somebody say, "Oh yeah, it's nothing square."
I heard that.
About yeah. It's nothing square about the fact that every day where I domicile, I hear police sirens and ambulances going past my, where my street, down my street. And then every day someone here is a young person is either shot and killed or wounded. There isn't a day lately that has gone by that you don't hear of somebody getting shot.
Crazy. That's kind of crazy. And that's why I told you what you should do is put speakers outside. Back in the day, they had speakers outside. When y'all do these lectures and these functions, they should have a speaker outside so these young cats can hear it. But I also said it's a certain way that we have to approach that with them also, because again, I talked to my sons. My sons didn't want to hear any of this. They didn't want to hear me talking about, oh yeah, we this and we that. It was like, yo, where can I get that bag from? Because that's what's being played on the radio. I'm listening to songs and people say, well, the music don't have nothing to do with it. Yes, the hell it does. You ever hear the when they said the message in the music? That's what we're missing. It was a message in the music, and it's a message in the music today. And those that know can pull those strings. They know this. So when you hear a person says, I'll shoot you in the head 5 times for the bag, I kill for the bag, you ain't a killer. But somebody has a mind like a sponge. You're going to suck that up and think that it's a movie that you can shoot somebody and you can get up and walk away, and everything is everything. I don't think people really, really witnessed or saw any of that who was talking like that. If you really saw that or witnessed something that, your family went through, like I said, I was out there when my son was killed. So I'm sitting and like, imagine to see something like that. And then you reflect, because I used to get on Amir a lot. He would come. When I stayed in Philly, I was in Philly for 3 months, and I was there when he got killed. So I'm like, dude, turn that the hell off, bro. Let me let you hear this over here. Let me let you hear this. He didn't want to hear it because his peers was not playing it. You know what I mean?
Right.
But he was getting he was getting there. He was really getting there, but it was, again, the out of sight, out of mind. And again, my son was raised in this Moorish movement. He know, but again, it wasn't fashionable. It wasn't fly. It wasn't cool. And that weekend when my son was killed, they said it was 11 shootings that one Saturday, that weekend. He said out of the 11 shootings, it was 5 killings, everybody under 5 years old. That's what the detective told me. Everyone under 25 years old, was killed. And I was like, damn, that was kind of crazy. And we think it's a joke, and we keep blaming it's not the music. It is the music. It is the music. It plays a hell of a part if you understand vibrations.
Yeah, and the other thing that we talked about that has been a great influence, and I give credit because I've never been into video games. Now my youngest son, I know in the video games, but I was listening, maybe a few weeks back to one of Jaguar Wright's interviews, and she, yeah,
Wow.
you know the sister.
I know her.
Right.
Wow, G.
Right. But I was listening to one of her interviews, and she was sitting in a big chair, and I don't know who the person was that was interviewing her, and they were asking. I've seen clips of it, but in this particular segment, they were asking her about how what has caused some of the negative influence that we see in our young people today, and she brought up Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah.
And so I had to then, like I said, I don't know video games. I just know that, but I felt in my soul that video games were sort of a precursor, that they deliberately were put upon or set upon our children. First, they started out in the innocent. Now, I remember when we were playing Mario or Pac-Man. I didn't graduate beyond Pac-Man myself because I could go gobble gobble. I could do that. But when we got to Mario,
on that not too long ago, Todd Tariq Bey and I had a challenge on that a while ago of
the Pac-Man. Pac-Man.
We was going at it.
Well, but I, when it got beyond that, they started our children with stuff like that, animated type stuff, and then eventually, I know the sports, the Madden. I know my son was like every Madden, he, and even my grandson getting that stuff for him. But I didn't know really what was in some of these games, and so she mentioned Grand Theft Auto, and then she broke down in that interview all of the various rewards and so forth.
Kill a person, how bad you kill a person, and how much reward. And let's go back. Let's think about this for a minute. Listen to what you just said. And I've been in that industry too. And Hawthorne James eventually will come on here. Y'all that know him from Big Red, from 5 Heartbeats, he's on here. He's listening too. But remember the scene in Django when they were fighting the Mandingo? Remember they were fighting in the movie? And
I didn't see the whole movie.
He rewarded the one who killed the other dude. He said, give him the beer, give him the woman. That's what they're doing now, but these cats don't see that. So when Jaguar Wright was saying that, you get rewarded if you do X, Y, and Z.
Right.
And that's why they push this type of information out here. You don't want, you like somebody said earlier, oh, that's old school. Now that's called true school. Hip hop is called true school, not old school. It's no
explain to me, to our viewers and listeners, what you explained to me about the hip and the hop. Yeah, the hip and the hop, because I didn't know that.
Well, and if you go back to West Africa, it's a Wolof language. In Wolof, it means to open one's eyes. And when you hip to something, you hop out on it. So the knowledge is the fifth element. So you hop out on the knowledge that you know. So that's what hip hop is. So you hip to something, now you're going to hop out on it. That's what hip hop is. And it comes out of Africa.
In its true sense. It has been perverted.
And what happens, those who know, anybody that's in this industry knows, and you talk to anyone that's in Hollywood, and hopefully Hawthorne James can get on here, he'll tell you a lot. They'll tell you sex, murder, money is what sells. If you ain't talking about sex, murder, money, and that's what Jaguar was trying to get to people. You know what I mean? That's what she was saying. But I'm not that person that wants to go there. So they understand the influence and the vibration. So they have to put this out here to the masses of our people. Brother Hawthorne James and I did a movie. I came on as a co-writer and a producer of this movie called Abandon Act. And in the movie, we had books like 100 Amazing Facts About the Negro in it, trying to get people to, come over here. Because he did a movie called The Stick Up Kids. So
I remember that movie.
so we are trying to create something, but again, we don't have the finances to make it happen. We have to dumb it down, compromise, or something like that to actually get it out to these young brothers. But the movie Stick Up Kids was a brilliant movie. It was a good movie to actually grab these young brothers and say, wait a minute, and then you would mix and have all this information about the Moors inside of it. That's brilliant, but we don't have the resources to actually put that out. Like these companies, because honestly, they come to us. They literally watch our videos and see what these young cats, because the feds do this too. This thing is called profiling. The feds, you can all look this up. The feds have a thing called profiling. So they'll profile you, just like they'll look at your YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram and know how to market you. So they're looking at these young cats and they know what to push out here. They know what's wrong, what's going on. They know, but they have to market you and put that out here because they study you. Anyone can look up the feds. The feds is called profiling. They had a movie out called Mind Hunters. It's profile you so they know what you like. So now you see the games like Grand Theft Auto. Oh, you want to have all that money? Oh, no problem. That's all you got to do is call a woman a bitch, hoe, this. You see what I'm saying? That's what it is. So say that, you will get the numbers, you will get the hits. Or say somebody's gay or gossip. This is how it works. And we fall for it as adults. And it's hard to try to get these young brothers out of that. Because I tell people all the time, I don't have nothing, I don't have the finances to keep fighting this. And they know that. This system knows that.
Yeah. While I take a little pause, I want to make sure, we should have a lot more people on this live. I want you all to make sure you like and make sure you share the fact that we are live, because you will have an opportunity to at least put your input in during the live. So make sure you're not just enjoying this yourself, but that you are pressing the like and that you are sharing. Share. If you're on Facebook, then do a watch party. Other people need to hear this, please. Other people need to hear what's being said tonight, and this is very, very important. And for Sabir, for you to consent to do this at this time, I just have much respect for you, because it shows that what you really are looking for is, you cannot bring Amir back, but if you can stop somebody else's son from an untimely, or daughter, because females are going to here, at least in Wilmington, they've been shooting females too. You want to.
Women is not exempt. They're not exempt.
That's right.
But I'm on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram, and there's a lot of people on my Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. The reason why you probably ain't gonna get so much, a lot of these cats don't like to hear what I'm getting ready, what I'm going to say, and what I'm going to talk about. And this is just the reality. And again, it's not always this so-called white man. It's our own people. It's the ones that's supposed to be woke that don't want this. You see what I'm saying? It's not profitable. It's not, it's not selling you a dream. I can't sell dreams to people, man. I can, but it's not in me to do that. It's not in me. So I have to speak from the heart.
Well, I want to go back to something that you said a little earlier when you were talking about the fact that you didn't want to do a memorial for Amir, and you talked about because you wanted his spirit to release his spirit to go back to source. And that is another thing that has been heavy on my mind and heart for the longest time with regards to all of the shootings, particularly ones that places and hotspots where you see a lot of the same things happening, in the same general vicinity. And in these areas, you do see a lot of memorials. You see the 40s, you see the bears, the balloons. Matter of fact, I'm trying to find a poem that I wrote where I talk about it. But the fact of the matter is what folks don't know, and what we've lost, and this is long time ago, we've lost that ancient practice of sending that one spirit or soul on to that next place where it's going. And so what they don't, because I'm into the metaphysical life, and I really ascribe to it. And I really believe in my heart that many of the energy of those that are murdered and killed tragically will, if not sent on, lingers in the state of limbo, not in the area of where they took their last breath, and that the old saying is in life, misery loves company. It's the same in death, and that energy of death and that energy of the murderous spirit and so forth is still in the area. And so you'll see a lot of things taking place over and over again,
In that particular
especially
area. Yep.
around the memorials. They're hanging out. Look, well, they remember me, don't they see me? So they know people are stopping by and whatever. So they're there. And then there's, they become these some of these spirits become agitators from an energetic standpoint, and they aggravate and agitate other things to happen to other people. And we've got to learn how to go. Yeah.
Let me tell you why, because we had memorial at my niece's house, but we didn't have it outside. And what you just said is because it will agitate and bring more stuff. Because we sat back and it was me. The call was on me. So if I would have had that there, where Amir got killed at, we would have been gathering out there. We don't know what would have happened. We don't know what would happen. Then it would have drew or ignited something else that led into something. Because as soon as somebody would have came past shooting at that particular time, then that would have sparked something totally different. You know what I mean? It would, because not letting that spirit leave, like you said, is going to constantly keep coming there, and somebody else may or may not get killed or may not get shot at that particular spot. And that's why I didn't want to have something outside where he got killed at. I just wanted his spirit to leave peacefully. But I had something private at my niece's house. And even there, it was outside. And everybody, it was kind of crazy because it had, it had them things, baby, because it would have kicked out, have been a different story out there. But again, it was me that tried to let my son leave peacefully. I didn't want to put no teddy bears out there. I didn't want to, none of the pictures. And let him go. Let him go. He's here with me. He's with me. He might be sitting in his room in a chair somewhere. I don't know. He may be, looking at us right now on here. And that's how I have to look at everything.
Well, I see funny. Well, she's this funny ass chick. I'm not calling her that, but that's what it says. Here in Baltimore, they have groups that come out and sage and bless the space where people have been. And that is what we ought to do. But in most, we ought to be saging and, going through, if you go and sending that spirit on and cleaning the area, cleansing the area, instead of just making it a memorial for more, violence and so forth to take place. And I think so many people have lost sight of that, of the fact that that's powerful. And because, we have the mistaken knowledge or thought that they would say, when you're dead, you're done. No. Your energy is just in another form, and it's probably more powerful in its release state, because you have to think in terms of being compacted in, if you're 6'1" or 5'2" like myself or whatever. But when you release that energy, it is the expanse. It becomes one with the all. It is already a part of the quantum entanglement. But now there was a young brother here who was a very good friend of my youngest son. And he was a rapper. And he was a good young man. And I used to always, at the time I was a pastor. And of course, as a pastor, I'm always saying, when you going to come to church? When you come? And they would tell me, oh, Miss Nayela, we coming. And one Sunday, I will never forget this. One Sunday I was late, going to church, which is like a block from my house. And I went down the steps and put my hand on my front door in order to leave, and all of a sudden a thought came into my mind that I had forgotten something, right? Mm-hmm. And you know how you touch the door and then something said, you forgot something. So I ran back up my stairs, and just as I got almost to the top of the stairs, I heard what sounded like 6 or 7 gunshots, right? And I ran back out, came back downstairs, because my son had just called me and said, Mom, I'm on my way coming to church. But he was too far away for it to be anything dealing with him. But I came out the door and I looked, and a lady was running up the street with her granddaughter or daughter, I don't know. And she was like, they shot him. They shot him. I don't know what she was talking about. So I looked down the street, right? down the street from the House of Reawaken the Minds. And there was a car, there's a tree in the middle of the block, and there was a car right up, right up against the, like, had run into the tree. The cars of members of my ministry, the church, cars were up, going up. They just missed going through the windows. Two cars were totaled, and they went up on the house next door to the building. And it turned out, so I run down the street and stand at the time there was a church across the street from us. Remember, the church used to be over that burned down, and all had the high steps. And so I'm standing on the steps like everybody else. The police come, the ambulance come, and they're in there working on somebody in this car, and back and forth, trying, and finally they lost him. And that was the particular time when the brother that played in Friday with the eye, what's his name? He was at, what about the bike? Remember the movie Next Friday, and Debo came to my church that day. And after the ambulance took the young man away, and Debo came into the church with one of the pastors we have here, one of our local pastors is always at every shooting. You know how they have one pastor that the one that shows up and tries to quell, because he was a street brother himself. And so he brings Debo to the church. Well, my son comes in the church and collapses in the back. Said they killed him. And they killed Cam. And it turned out I didn't even realize who it was, because, you don't get right up on it. The young man that said, "Oh, I'm coming," she had gotten shot. And when I was about to go out the door, because I got sidetracked to go back up, I would have walked right out in it, because he shot up my husband's car. The guy was shooting on the other side. He was shooting. He would have seen me. You see what I mean? This guy went on to dress up in whatever the Muslim garb is that women wear. And go undercover, because it was a girl in the car, a young lady in the car. She got away. They put her in undercover, under protection and everything. This man was walking around dressed up in that stuff.
Well, that's how it was. That's how it was when I was growing up in Philadelphia. They would dress up like women. But
and that's what he did. And then eventually he caught up with the young lady and shot her months later, because she came out he didn't kill her. But when they did get him, he wanted to be, and they put a law out called Cameron's Law. And the young man, beautiful young man, was a rapper. They played rap music at his wake, and they didn't have it at the church, because his music was, but when I listened to his music was almost, it was prophesying what actually happened to him.
You put the vibration out there. Let me tell you how crazy this is. This is the thing. Like, people, when I got shot, this is real. I'm gonna tell you how this went down. And everywhere that I said I was going to get shot, that's why I don't put out something negative anymore. You know how your mom would say, if you had nothing good to say,
don't say nothing.
Don't say nothing, right? So not understanding nature and understanding how it works. When I got shot, I knew, like, I called everywhere on my body I was going to get shot. But this was the thing with me. And there's a difference between these cats now that's getting high. You don't know, because you're not even thinking, because, and when I said I was going to get shot in my head and live, this is me. Before I got shot, all this was going on. Now, this is the first time I got shot. First time I got shot, the second time I got shot, I said, I know I'm going to get hit in my head and I'm going to live. I know I'm going to get shot in my chest. All this stuff was going on, but I called everywhere on my body that I was going to get shot at, and I got shot from my head to my chest to my back to my arms, the whole 9 yards. I called it. So the same thing with these rappers. They don't realize it's a vibration that you're putting out constantly. So when you're saying kill, 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 it's going to happen.
Right.
That's just it's going to happen, because it may not happen right then and there. And also they say the creator, whatever y'all want to call him, will give you chances. He's going to give that to you. You see what I'm saying? Like, some people don't catch it. Some people do. When my son got shot the first time, I ain't gonna lie, he thought he was like, I'm like, dude, it ain't sweet like that. He was, I got shot. Yeah, whatever. You know what I mean? That's how he was. And I'm like, dude, it's not like that. This is him. It's not like that. I'm like, dude, stop. Well, I'm gonna do X, Y, and Z. I'm like, dude, it's not like that. And I kept beating that in his head, but I didn't want again to chase him. but you're putting that out there, and the music that you're listening to will actually trigger something in you. You're putting that out. When you're dealing with radio, you have frequencies and vibrations.
Right.
99.9 is a frequency. You see what I'm saying? It's a vibration and frequencies in these days. So when you're listening to that, you don't realize that it's going to act out. And when you put it out there in the universe, you're going to do it. So kill, 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 shoot, shoot, shoot. 5 times in the head. What? 5 times in the head? You shoot a person once in the head and they're gone. You know what I mean? This is what they're listening to. So if he was rapping like that, he called his own death.
I like I said, when I sat there at the wake, with the viewing and heard his music playing, and I was like, oh my goodness, this was like he just prophesied. I just pulled up on Spotify, Biggie, Life After Death.
Life After Death.
Life After Death. Somebody's Gotta Die. Kicking the Door. I'm not reading all the time. Going Back to Cali. Niggas bleed.
They do bleed, but we are putting, and this is why you don't have real hip hop out here. See, in these program directors and these radio personalities, they keep trying to tell these young cats, and I want you young cats to understand it. There is no such thing as old school. If you say old school, last week is old school. If you say something is old school, last week's music is old school, but you're still listening to it. It's no such thing as old school. It's called true school. And hip hop is the youngest genre out. This thing we call rap or hip hop is the youngest out to this day. If you look at hip hop in and of itself, it's rock and roll, R&B, jazz. All that's hip hop. It's all hip hop. But what we listening to now is recording artists pretending. That's not, it's part of the hip hop. Rap is, but it's not hip hop per se. It's a lifestyle. It's the elements of it. And what happens when we put this out and say, "Oh, that's old school." Rakim was 18 years old, spitting knowledge of a person that's probably in their 30s and 40s. You got KRS-One. That's why they get mad at KRS-One. He's 56 years old, still spitting and can kill somebody to this day. But he was doing that at 15, 16 years old, battling verbally. And that's what this was about. It was about to verbally battle somebody. Let me verbally battle you instead of me killing you. You see what I'm saying? Let me battle you breakdancing instead of me killing you. We're going to breakdance. But somebody said, no, we can't have that. These niggas kill each other. So they'll put it out here and say the A&Rs and all these other people, oh, that's old school stuff. That's that conscious talk. You don't want to be conscious? Run DMC, when they was telling you these things, you didn't want to. You think about it. Every last one of these artists, LL Cool J was 15, 16 years old when he came out. Look, where did they get the knowledge from? Who tapped into this and said, wait a minute, we got to destroy this motherfucker, right? We can't have these cats thinking. No. So they pay a couple of Negroes to go out here and search for these people. And they tap and they sit back and watch it. Have you ever paid attention to like Europeans that may come in our neighborhoods and they sit back and they just watch people? They scouts. They basically scouts like for movies and stuff like that. What do you like?
Or
they
sports.
Watch, for sport, all of it. They watch us and they see what we like. And then they're going to say, look, how much money can we put behind that? And that's what they do. So,
and then we have to deal with the illusion of that all of it that is behind all of it, or most of it, that, and we talked about this, that most of the people that are being idolized by these young people are living a life that is completely opposite of what they portray to the public. They really broke. They don't really have control of their own finances. They may get a little. They owe so much to the company that they're part of, the record company.
It's a 360 deal. The 360 deal. So how all that works, you have to go on tour. You have to do that, because whatever you make, and this is why we need to teach these young ones. Umi told me to teach the young the truth. That's what she said. We have these young people are signing contracts that know nothing about a contract. Nothing. The 360 deal, if I get you a tour, if I get you a show, if I get you a shirt, if I get whatever, we get a percentage of that. Go study the 360 deal. That's what's going on. So these cats is not who they say they are. They are basically pretending. This is why I said rap is called recording artists pretending. They don't own their masters. They don't own their stuff. You are being played, and people think they're making millionaires out of these rappers. This whole rap game is great, and if y'all don't pay attention, everything is online right now. Concerts is online. You make money when you tour. There is no tours going on, so they already played every last one of us, and we keep doing the same thing over and over, thinking these cats got money. You can go online, and when you see these videos with these dudes, you can go rent money, rent fake money. That's crazy. Give them what hip hop truly is. What is hip hop? Is knowledge. That's what we need. The one element that we're missing in all of this is the knowledge. That's what we're missing. But again, they put so much money behind the garbage and the gossip. This is what they do. That's why we're where we at.
That's true.
And let me tell you this is the funny thing. When I tell people, if you think you really are like, if you really are really a hip hop head and you know real hip hop and know what an MC stands for, I told somebody that Ronald Reagan was a DJ one time. They didn't even believe me. They said, what do you mean Ronald Reagan was a DJ? Go look it up online. It's easy to find. Y'all think a DJ is just a DJ that's mixing right about now. No, it's anybody that was in radio, because it's not necessarily the artist. It is actually the radio personality is the one who makes the artist. When you're on radio, you make the artist. So the most famous person is the artist, the host, the radio personality who puts the artist out. I've learned that in radio when I was doing radio. I made you. And that's what's really going on. But we think it's the artist. No, the artist is like the front man. Really, in hip hop, it was the DJ. The DJ was the dude. The one who was spitting was like a hype man, like in Public Enemy. He was the hype man. It was the DJ.
Well, guess who else used to be a DJ?
Who?
Me. You? Oh yeah. I was a club DJ. I was Lady D, and I worked in Changing Times, and I spin the ones and twos. That back then we didn't have the electronic stuff, and so yeah. But I'm saying, and so, but what these young people basically have been given is, a carrot, an illusion carrot, and the other thing that we're seeing that a lot of them get drugged into is we have this, not that we didn't know it, but it's becoming very, very evident with what Ms. Jaguar Wright has been saying, is that a lot of these young people are being, used and abused sexually in order, to get these deals. That these people have been, some of them have been like, what's her name, Ghislaine, whatever her name, Maxwell, but they've had other names, but they've done the same thing. They brought people.
If I can sit back and tell you honestly what I want on here, what a lot of celebrities told me from Stevie Wonder on down, like I can tell y'all stories, like real rap. But a person who has money and is not disciplined, most of these cats never had money. They never had anything, so that's why they're doing it. So when you get $100,000 to $200,000 to $300,000, you don't know how to act. Now I'm a pimped her. She's going to do exactly. It's the same thing in the drug game. Think about it. I used to hustle. Yeah, we used to get somebody to clean my car for $3 better than the car wash. You follow me? So it's the same thing. So imagine me having 100 to 200, 300 that just throw away. You will do anything I want you to do. That's what Jaguar was saying. I'm not trying to be put on, but people who want something. I was on a road with DL and them. I heard stories when women, they didn't even know I was with DL and them. I heard women say what they would do and who they would go to. The comedy get down, who I'm gonna go with, which one I'm gonna go with. Okay, who you gonna talk to? And they didn't know I was with them, but I was in the audience. I was actually on the escalator. So it's what you're trying to get out of it. So what Jaguar was saying is some of it's true. I don't know. I can't say it for everybody. I don't know. You know what I mean? But I can see that she's kind of hurt, but she went through it.
And it isn't about, we're not gonna go long and drawn about her, but and what she said, and I was listening to something that she just did recently, and she owned her, shit. That she said, I did this too.
Yeah, and that's what I respect about her. She owned up to it. Eminem did that. But a lot of these people in this conscious community is not living up to what they have done. You got conscious cats that call women bees. You got conscious cats that does all these things. Lauryn Hill said the same thing. When you tell on yourself, they have nothing to talk about. That's so right. She told on herself. Eminem told on himself. And she told all of them, Lauryn Hill told on herself, most cats are sitting on this YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and even your show, know damn well that you did something wrong. And what happens, you're hiding behind it. So when it comes out, and now you are exposed and you're upset. So I'm glad she did tell on herself. Like me, I would tell on myself if I did something. If I was wrong, I would do. If I was sleeping with a dude, I'm gonna let you know. This is in the day and age, dude. Like, come on, man. You can say you that person, you gay, and you be all right. You know what I mean? But we get into this industry because we want something.
Right.
It's the same Moore's movement.
But it's a carrot that's being, my youngest grandson, is, what is he, about 10? No, I don't want to, yeah, that's funny. I don't know. My youngest grandson is very, very big in sports. And my son, his father, I call him a soccer mom. Just kind of, because he's just always there taking him And he's great in basketball, great in football as a young person. And what I see now, and it should have always been that the focus has to be not even on academics as we know it, because again, I even think the so-called educational, or it is the educational system, it's just not as Todd would say, it's not where you get erudition, it's where you get trained how to follow directions. But that system, right. That system for our young people is you can see with this, what we're going through, that they're kind of like, we don't need it. They actually have, technology, and they have coding, and they have all this stuff, and they don't really care whether or not these children are so-called educated anymore. So with my grandson, is sports. Well, now we'll see what's happening in the so-called sports world, because I've called, for all you sports fans, I made a meme a few months back, and I probably still have it here on my thing, but I basically showed a justification of the sports arenas of today and the coliseums of yesterday. I did this several months ago. And that was a place where the Romans would put people to, pass time and to get their energy, because here they were killing each other in the arena, and they was fighting lions and tigers and bears and all this stuff. But they were living off of the adrenaline in that way, the same way they talking about adrenochrome and this and that that's happening today. They were doing it then, but they've also been doing it all along in these arenas, in these basketball arenas, in these football arenas, hockey arenas. And do our children who we think deal more with, their physical, our boys, our young men can jump higher and run faster and do all this stuff. We got to have a different direction for them. We got to get them back into
science. Listen,
there you go. Science, technology.
Let me show you how this works. If anybody don't understand this, I say study Michael Jordan, study Dr. J. Dr. J and Michael Jordan mastered gravity. That's a science, G. To stay in the air that long, that's mastering gravity. If you look at the pioneers of hip hop, from Bambaataa, Grandmaster Flash, Kool Herc, we just gonna use them three, right?
Mm-hmm.
One was a poet, one was electrician, one was a mechanic. Kool Herc, mechanic. Grandmaster Flash, electronics. Electric, right? He created the turntable. He did the whole 9 yards. That's the electrician. Bambaata's a poet. We had to understand. Let's teach them the elements. And the fifth element again is knowledge. You have to have the knowledge in all this. That's what we need to show these young brothers. Like, not just because I can sit up there and say a couple of dumb behind words. We are the masses. And what happened? They studied this. They studied all of this with us. When you go back and study the whole history of the Moors, how the wars was going on, the two brothers was fighting one another. This is how the game of chess came about, because it was two brothers fighting one another, and they said, yo, we got to stop this beefing with each other. So they came up with the chess game. That's how this stopped. So we can stop killing one another, because we were family. We are family. When we look at all of this, like even like from Philly, I shared this with an elder today, and I said, because of our neighborhoods being gentrified, right? Mm-hmm. We used to have this thing called across the tracks. We're not even on my side of the tracks anymore. You know what I mean? Majority of them are on the other side, and most of them was raised on the other side of the tracks, but they still have family ties here. That's tribal. So what we're doing to each other is killing each other without even knowing, yo, that might be my cousin. Philly's not that big. So, I might have been killing my cousin or my homie, or I stayed in the house with X, Y, and Z. You see what I'm saying? Like, I stayed in the house with X, Y, and Z and used to eat at the table with these people. We don't have that connection anymore because Big Mama's gone.
Right.
We don't have the elders that we can sit with and talk to. And that's all. This is going right back to history because the Europeans has studied us. He studied us, and even down to this Moorish movement. I told y'all earlier, when we started battling each other in the 70s, there was gang banging back then, but they brought up break dancing to stop it. 80s, the crack comes in after we started verbally battling. When we started doing it with each other, then the crack game comes in. You follow me? It's a cycle. But again, those who have the money are the ones that you see, and some of them look just like us because they chasing the so-called bag. That's what's happening.
And there is no real bag. That's like the elusive pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. I mean, most people, they find, and they're finding out now. We're looking back, and you can kind of trace that. I heard somebody say, and I don't know who I heard it say that. Oh, I heard Shaka Khan say it. Shaka Khan was being interviewed by someone. It was after the death of Whitney Houston. And she said she was told that most stars were worth more dead than they are alive.
There you go.
So
he said that. I mean, nobody knows you. Nobody knows something like that until you're dead. Like they said it.
Right. You know what I mean?
You're nobody until you're somebody. You're dead, basically. But what happens? They feeding off of that. And this is what also happens with fear. They feed off of your fear. And fear is only false evidence appearing real.
The whole darn globe is being put under a spirit of fear.
Yes, we are.
The whole darn world is, at least the ones that have access to media. Those who are oblivious to what's going on, they're living their lives, and they're thriving, and they're doing, whatever. If you're somewhere on a deserted island with your fruit and your veggies and your loincloth, you're fine. But if you're anywhere near a television, or radio, you are being indoctrinated by the fear, the disease called fear, the infection called fear. It's insidious, and it does the bidding of the ones who create the so-called scenario, and the whole planet pretty much is under a cloud of that. And one of my things, what I tried to do is to speak positive and let folks know that the only reality that you really have is the one that you create or the one that you accept. You got two choices. You can create one or you can accept one.
It's nothing scary about me. I don't know what you mean. We all so scary. I'm not scared.
Oh, no. I don't mean.
I'm reading something on Facebook. So they just said that.
Yeah. And when I say that to the extent that those who know better aren't. Those who know better are speaking like you and I and saying everybody's under this. Everybody may be under it, but not all of us are influenced by it. It is, the intent is, to silence people or to discredit folks that would come against the established, whatever the objective is, whatever their prime directive and objective is, that those of us who are speaking life into people and power, speaking the power, not that what the so-called power, but speaking power to the seemingly powerless. People don't realize that they themselves, are the power, and they've abdicated their power to, just because we have allowed ourselves to be, what would you call that? To be controlled by government. And what does that mean? Governing your mental.
I believe it was John Henry Clark that said people in power would never teach the powerless how to take power from them. To do that will be insane. So we are powerful. You just don't know your power. And
there you go.
And this is going right back to the knowledge of self, knowledge of who you are. And again, I know who I am without no doubt. You know what I mean? When I was when I was overseas, I was at peace. I was good. But like you said, not watching the news, because the news that I was watching overseas, I didn't see. I'm like, y'all getting something totally different than what I'm watching over here. And they don't allow certain stuff over there. You see what I'm saying? Especially in a lot of these Islamic countries.
Right.
You don't want to get certain things over there that you get in the States, because all this stuff here is poison and cats don't get it. And you feel more in prison here than anywhere else on this planet. You know,
Yeah, it's just it's crazy. It is so crazy that people, like I said, with our young people, we have pretty much put them in the hands of people whose agenda really created eugenics and put birth control clinics in our communities because they were trying to convince us that our children were not worth coming into this life and so forth. And we thought that these people were doing us a favor, and all along we now realize that it is based on the fear. Remember, there was somebody said this was like fear of a black planet.
yeah,
you know
it's deception. Is Carter G. Woodson spoke about deception. There's a book called Introduction to Critical Thinking. Speaks about deception and propaganda. It happens. And my sister, you say you feel lost. Anything lost can be found. That's my comeback. Anything lost can be found, sister. Anything lost can be found. You just got to go within. And when I was over in London, it was funny to me that the elder that I was in a car with, he told me to find peace within yourself, Sabir, and you'll find peace within the world. And that stuck with me when he said that. Find peace within yourself and you'll find peace within the world. And that's why people don't understand I'm at peace. They want me to be just hot in a room with my curtains shot dark and, with my son. Oh, my God, you just lost your son. I'm like, no, I'm at peace. And my son is at peace.
Mm-hmm.
I'm at peace with that. Give me 1 second. I'm on Instagram. Sorry.
That's okay. We want to make sure you're still clicking, sharing. We appreciate the numbers have doubled, so somebody's clicking and sharing. But this is a very timely and important topic. And I think one of the things that you pointed out about your son Amir, and I'm sure he's not the only one, and there's probably a lot of parents that are on this live are waking up and deciding that, wait a minute, I'm not Negro, Black, colored, African American, I'm a Moor. But whatever you've done prior to that, and now you're making this change, your children are looking at you like, now what? The children the children are like, okay, now what game has been played against my mama or my daddy, or because I don't see anything different, anything changing. Matter of fact, looks like they more, frustrated. Looks like they lost more, different things. I'm not slamming the wokeness or the waking up to who we are, but I'm saying that we're doing more talking about than we are being about.
Exactly. And that's why I went overseas. Somebody asked me about where did I get the story from the chess game. Anybody plays chess, you should know this. I bought a chessboard when I was in Grenada. It was so funny because I don't play physical chess. I play life chess. I bought a physical chess handmade in Grenada, right? And they will tell you the history when you're there. It started with us. And that's all if anybody who's actually would research the chess game, you will see there it was talking about us. Think about it. It's us. It was us. So all we have to do is create something. And again, like the most honorable Elijah Muhammad said, you don't have to condemn a dirty glass of water. Sit the clean one up beside it and let the people choose it. And that's what happens in hip hop. I'm not here to condemn the rappers. I'm here to say, look, let's have a balance in this. Let's have the balance. If you're going to shoot somebody 25,000 times, then God darn it, let's have this over here on the radio too. Because we used to do that. It used to be like that on radio. You had NWA, and then you had Wu-Tang. You had the balance, but there's no balance in it anymore. And the money is in kill, 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 shoot, shoot, shoot. How many times? I sit back sometimes and be like, dude, how many times you going to kill a dude in a rhyme?
And that's another thing, back to those games. In those games that they were indoctrinated, our young people were indoctrinated by, I'm not sure, but I think you could probably, another person with the game, you can go over to your friend's game, and wouldn't the character that you killed yesterday could be alive in their game, right?
Yeah, it's there. You could be at somebody else's house online.
Right. So the feeling that, oh, hey, it's nothing but a game. Shoot, they learned how to kill and become desensitized to its effect, to its, out long-term effect of what you've done to the full extent of what you have done. And it was given, an entertainment and a reward factor that made it, so our young people. And then the other thing that is another thing besides games, is just when these parents, I've seen parents riding up the street, they're blasting all of this vulgar rap music, and their children are sitting in the car with them, and this is the stuff you hear, and you're looking at the car, and it's a woman driving. and, and,
Did you
and
ever hear? Did you ever hear this song? Listen to this song. Look up Lupe's Fiasco's song called "Bitch Bad." There's a song when Lupe, you look it up. He has a video. It's old now. It's called "Bitch Bad." So what he was saying in the song, and this is why I said stuff like his don't come out. He was trying to say, when you're putting it out, and the mother was driving the car singing it along, "Bitch Bad," that's what we're doing. So they're sucked up, and you have your child sitting there listening to the same song, but she becomes a bitch. You see what I'm saying? Like, okay, it's cool to be called a bitch. You follow me? That's what we're producing. So he's saying it in the song. But I have an acronym that Kara's one wife said, Simone Parker. She said, if a man calls you a bitch, say, yes, I am a bitch. Why? Because I take control here. If you really want to piss somebody off, because I take control here. And you really want to piss somebody off, maybe they won't even call you that anymore.
That's true.
What they were doing, what these people do, like I said about the chess game, they took the brightest minds and put them together and created that game chess. This is what they're doing to our people. They're taking the bright minds of us, giving them everything that they want, everything that they need, and saying, look, just create something. It was a movie recently I was watching. They locked the dude in a room, and he was a scientist. This is what they do. So it's the same thing. Let me show you something, how crazy this is. And this is why I tell people the most beautifulest thing is to travel. Travel, travel, travel. I will invest in my child's travel education. That is the best. The best education is to travel. It's not in four walls. Travel. When I was overseas, I looked up this guy named Averroes. Averroes was from Cordoba. He was a Moorish philosopher. I spoke about it, and I said I was going to do a lecture on him. Averroes was a philosopher who was a Moorish philosopher from Cordoba, Spain. And he has a statue in Cordoba, and he has a statue in Barcelona University. So they would pay him because of his mind. He would go to different people as he traveled. You see where I'm going at with this? Why I'm saying this? Ibn Battuta, which was before, everybody knows Marco Polo, but we don't know Ibn Battuta.
True.
The world traveler, right? When I'm in these places, they're calling me Ibn Battuta. They're saying, yo, you're following the footsteps of all these great dudes, Ibn Sina. They're telling me this because I'm studying them. Those are the people. So when you will go to different countries, in different places, you're sitting and speaking for who? You're speaking for the prime ministers. You're speaking for these people because you had the knowledge. That has always been us. That's what this European is watching. So when I was over there, I'm watching Europeans in these countries, Chinese people in these countries, studying our history, and we're not going there. It was so many Chinese people in Morocco. So many Chinese people going up to the Alhambra, learning about the Alhambra. I say, damn, this is crazy. So there are the teachers that is coming back to the States now and miseducating our children. And we're not backing or helping the real people who are going to these places saying, look, we can do the same thing. We can do the exact same thing. And they have always took, again, the brightest minds of our people.
It's sad though that there's so much that we could be doing for our children, and so much that we see is being done to them, but yet we again appear to be powerless to do anything. And I was reading something off a script, and I sent this to myself as a quote. It is allegedly a Q&A from someone who said that they are from an elite group, like one that we don't know about, that's in another realm, but that they know who's controlling life. And the question that was posed to this being was, what is your interpretation of the divine law, and how can I make peace with myself? And this is what It said, knowing yourself and where you really are the two most important issues that you should be involved with.
Yep.
It is your task to find out. In fact, if someone gave you the correct answers, it would not mean a thing to you, for they would not be attached in a way that if you, well, let me go back. Let me read it back. In fact, if someone gave you the correct answers, it would not mean a thing to you, for they would not be attached to you in a way they would if you would have found them yourself. And when I read that, I thought about all, for instance, and I'm switching up a little bit, all the folks out there looking for somebody, you, Taj, me, whatever, to give them the answers.
But see, we can, and you can, it ain't about switching up, because all of this is part of it. This is part of the fifth element, the knowledge part. You're right. They're looking for us and saying, yo, no, apply yourself. When I was going to these places, sister, I was by myself. James Smalls thought I was crazy. Small, I was crazy. Phil Valentine thought I was crazy. And I'm sitting in these places and I'm searching it for myself, not what somebody else told me. I want to see. I lost money doing that. I didn't know where I was going at. I'm lost over these places, but I'm going by myself to find out what everybody else was talking about. I went to where the Treaty of Peace and Friendship was at. I went there twice. While people talk about it, I was in Morocco, Tangiers. I went to where that treaty was at. I went there where that was the first U.S. embassy. I was there. No more said, yo, you need the help, brother. Let me help you out. You follow me? So we have to go find it for ourselves, not what other people are saying. Because Absolutely. This is what happens in this whole so-called conscious or Moorish movement. People get disappointed when something don't work out. And that's why I said earlier, again, even in this is the same person, the same thing in this industry, the same thing in this Moorish movement. People get in this movement to try to get out of something.
Most likely.
And then when it don't work out the way they want it to work out, they want to point fingers and say, well, Todd said this and he said. That's why you don't hear me saying things. If I don't research it, I'm not going to touch it. I'm not touching it. You see what I'm saying? So they want to blame people instead of them, like you said, looking for it for yourself.
Right.
The same way I got on that plane and moved out, the same way you can do that and find it for yourself. And then you can say, okay, I know. I can say I know because I have both sides of it. Over here, what I heard, and over there, what I heard. That's it.
And didn't the prophet say, know thyself? And in knowing thyself, a lot of times, and I was telling somebody today, and forgot the appellation I was speaking to, but he knows. But I was saying to him, I said, well, here we are doing all this searching. I shared this with him. I said, we want answers. We want people, like you said, I said, and you said, to give us the answers and also to take the blame when the answers don't pan out. But
he said it.
We're looking for, a God, if you will. We're looking for a savior to get us out of, this, that, and the third. And the truth of the matter is, if you to go into scripture a bit, is this fact that we say that the greater one is living on the inside. So if the greater one lives on the inside of me, then how in the world could an answer for anything I need be outside of myself? And most of us spend time trying to get someone else to do our heavy work. We don't want to do the thinking. We don't want to do the cogitating and the figuring out, but it's within us. It also says, that we have this treasure hidden in an earthen vessel. That means the treasure is in you, me. We got it, each one of us. And so we wouldn't have to blame folks. We probably know how to raise our sons and our daughters and save them if we would look within, because it's got to be in there. But everybody has an external help me, I need you to save me mentality.
Yes, and you ain't never lie. And that's why you don't hear nobody saying Sabir told me to do that, because I'm not. And that's why they get mad at me. Even some of these Moors, I'm like, don't get mad at me. Just listen. If you want to roll with Sabir, come on, I'll gladly take you, but I ain't gonna pay for you. I'll take you with me so you can see it too. Period. I'll take you. You can see it for yourself. You ain't got to believe me. Believe in you. Believe in you. And this is what I tell people all the time. Believe in you. And that's what I was trying to do with my sons. get them out of here. I told both of them, if you go get your stuff, I'll pay for your passports. They're my children, so I can do that. I would do that for them to see the world. So now I do. My other son is still in Philadelphia, but my daughter, she's going to be traveling soon. You know what I mean? But you got to instill that in your children. My job now, honestly, is the children. That's it. I'm just done with these adults with it. My focus is the children now. You teach them because they don't want us going to move out on this. We keep trying to get out child support, taxes, and the whole 9 yards. I'm all right with all that, you know. So yeah, stop looking outside of yourself. Did you say Phil Valentine thought you? Yeah, Phil Valentine thought I was crazy. James Smalls thought I was crazy. Phil followed. So I'm reading something on YouTube. Phil, I literally called Phil when I was overseas many times in James Smalls. And I respect both of those elders to say you did something that a lot of people did not do in this conscious community. I went by myself and I was going. That's why I said I wanted to take my sons this time with me. And if I had more money, I would take other people with me just so they can experience. And that's what I wanted my sons to do. And I wanted the young people to experience traveling, see the world. See the world is bigger than your block. Umi used to say, he would say to me that the world is too vast to suffer in one place. I'm going to say it again. She said, the world is too vast to suffer in one place. Get out if you can and travel. See the world. You'll see something totally different. You get a whole education. J.A. Rogers talked about that in Superman the Man. If you read his book, leave here. Leave the naysayers alone.
So many people are afraid because the propaganda that has been spread has been that we are in the greatest, place, and then you find out no. I said the only difference between, we'll look at other countries that are allegedly under foreign occupation and go, oh, that's a shame. Look at the troops in, here and the troops there. And I said, the only difference is that we don't see the troops there. Our troops are maybe policy enforcers and all that, but you just don't see the bars and you don't see certain things, but this is occupation just like those other nations.
Talk to people from overseas. Just have a conversation. I did that when I was over there. I would joke with people and say, do you want to go to the United States? They say, hell no. You talk to somebody who's been here. I was on the island of Malta, this island called Malta, right? Mm-hmm. And on the island of Malta, the dude said he lived in the United States for a while, right? And he said he had to leave because he felt in prison. My brother Madib is from Tunis. And Madib said he felt more in prison than he has ever been. This is what he said to me. He's from Tunis. People think that they're free here. They just make it feel good. They just make you feel good. Make you feel like you're comfortable. You all right. This is the greatest place. Everything over here in the United States is like, it's not authentic. It's made up. So they have to keep you with Disneyland. They have to keep you with these fantasies. But when you go overseas and see the real, you'll open up. Damn, my things is dying all over.
Right. And you don't, and I saw somebody say, I'm never leaving America. And that's fine. But what I'm saying is that you should broaden your horizons because your perspective is limited. It's a matter of perspective. You might go up and in a plane, and if you're sitting in a plane on the tarmac, if you will, on the runway, you can see around you. You can see a little bit out the window. You see a little. You could whatever your field of vision, but the higher you go up, the broader your perspective, and you'll see things that you never thought were there. And it's the same thing about, the expanse of allowing yourself to the ability to see what else is there. I mean, there are even some that are saying that even the world as we know it, we've been lied to as far as its size. There's much more land and expanse that has not been, made known to us. Oh, there are others that know it's there, but we don't know it's there. And even perspectives of how close we are to certain places that they will intentionally fly, around circles and stop you in this country and that. And when the shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line, and you could have done in 4 hours what they're taking 16 hours to do. Am I right about that?
Yeah, but let me tell you why most of these people say they won't leave America. And I know some people may get upset. This is why most people won't leave America. Number one, you may not have the resources to leave because you're spending them on other things. I don't want a car note that costs $500-600. I'm not trying to buy Louis Vuitton and Gucci. The other one is probably child support. Most can't leave because of child support. So people make up excuses like that. So I don't want to leave America. If they can, honestly, if you can leave America, believe me, anybody, talk to somebody from the Caribbean and bring that up to them. They can be here and say, no, we're going to bounce and leave. Majority of these people who talk that smack cannot leave. And they know that because they're lying to themselves. Because if they can leave, they will leave. So listen, this is a brother from Africa. They said the only way to see the real America is more, what he said, is to move out and look at it from the outside in. That's what he did. He's from Africa. To see it for what it is. The outside in. Like, if this is a sister from Ethiopia, she's on here too, Salam. She said the same thing. So when people say that, those are the people that's locked here who cannot leave.
Here's a brother or sister, I'm not sure, brother Art Mordian says, I live in China and it's nothing like people think it is. It's safer here for foreigners than the U.S.
Thank you. Now, let me tell you what happened. I was in the roughest places in Morocco, in Tunisia. I'm in places like I felt at peace. You don't have nobody running around with guns out there doing what they're doing. They can pick you up and see if you're a tourist. Now, if you go somewhere looking like a tourist, I can see that. Majority of the people who go on these leave, they go to places like Barcelona, tourist area, Paris, France. I wasn't in Paris. I didn't want to go there. I stayed in Marseille for weeks, southern part. I stayed in Toulouse for weeks and months. I stayed in places where our history was at. So in these places, when you go there, you'll know about Charles Martel, who beat the Moors. That's why I was in these places. I wasn't going to Paris. It wasn't nothing in Paris I wanted to see, but they did say, go there. I was going to go to Algiers when I was in Tunis. It was only a ride away, but I had to pay $75 for a visa. So when you're in these places, you'll see how people are and how they act towards us, the melanated people.
Toya, the Aries Moon, says, I'm a flight attendant and I am so grateful for the opportunity I've had to travel overseas. There are some beautiful places out there with lots of history. I want to go to Belize. I'm going to purchase some land with some fruit trees, some mature fruit trees in Belize. I'm going to do it.
It's so much. Like, you can be in Spain and walk down the street and eat oranges. Like, this is the crazy part. Like, when people say this, I'm like, y'all don't get. Like, these are people who don't want to leave here. Like, I'm sitting in these places, and again, this wasn't once or twice. I went many times. And what a brother told me, I don't want to call him an elder, but my brother from Denver said to me that one trip around the world is equal to a PhD. One educational trip around the world is equal to a PhD. And I'm sitting saying, whoa, this is I guess I got one then, huh? Because I studied all of these things. Traveling is the key to everything. When you study Ibn Battuta, when you go and look at these Europeans, right? Or I don't want to say that. They were Irish people. Japanese was over there. You had people from London, England. These are children. Listen, they were children taking tours in studying us. And they were actually Asian people going to Spain studying Gaudi, Antonio Gaudi, which I did a book on Antonio Gaudi. I did a photo book on him. No, we don't even know about Antonio Gaudi.
I don't.
Antonio, look him up. Barcelona. You have La Sagrada Familia, the church, the cathedral. When you see his work and see who he is, like I've did extensive research on him and mad photos, and I put it in a book. And I'm doing all this to show our people. When you come to the States, we don't even Casablanca. You talking about that's Morocco, but we don't even know about Antonio Gaudi. We should know about him. He said he took everything from nature and created the cathedrals. You follow me? In nature. These are things that our children need to know. If you're an architect, you should know about Antonio Gaudi. He said there is no straight lines in nature. He said that. Look him up. These are the things our children need to know about. We need to know about Ibn Sina, the father of modern day medicine. We should know who he was. Where was he from? Where did the hospital come from? The terminology of hospital was hospice or hospitality, Persian. We don't even know these things. So all these things I want to teach the youth. That's what they need to know to empower them. But you have to travel. We should know all these things, man. But we keep saying, no, I don't want to leave America. Dude, you act like this is the greatest place on the planet, and it's not. Yes, a lot of our history is in Spain. I was in all of it. I went to the Moorish castle in Portugal. A lot of our history is all up in that place. Spain was part of Africa.
Yeah, I was looking at I started looking the other day at the Spanish princes on Stars, and the first
I think
scene
somebody,
they were leaving the Alhambra, and they were to England, and the difference when they get to England from or Europe, wherever they went, to supposed to marry the son of I guess his name was Arthur. One of they were trying to put Spain and England together to save whatever they had, and they were asking about bathing, for instance, and the Moorish sister was saying, we need water. We bathe every day. And the lady says, the Queen Mother, we bathe once a week. And, and we realized, so we were seeing a little bit of some of the history the history that we've been told about the fact that, she said we had warm water and spring and bathing pools and all this stuff I said, you're not in Kansas anymore. Listen, they had left the Alhambra and gone to, these so-called royal people, but they lived sort of in squalor comparatively.
Yeah. It's funny. When I was over there, I was with Yassim's wife, Maiva. We we was in Barcelona University, and we both went into the restrooms, right? And it was funny because, in Islam, we do this thing called a stinja. You wash your penis off when you go to the bathroom. It's called a stinja, right? You wash 5 times a day. It's called wudu. So, of course, we were washing, right? So now we in the bathroom, and I'm watching. These are college students, European college students. They were coming out the bathroom, not even washing their hands. And she said the same thing in the women's bathroom. I said, and we both looked at each other when we came out the bathroom. We was like, these niggas don't even clean their hands. We were teaching everybody and everything. We were doing that. Right. So I'm laughing at this, like, yo, this is like some real life history. She said, didn't I tell you? Why did I tell you to come over here, Sabir? Don't listen to what other people are telling you. Go there and see it for yourself. I said, yo, this is real, yo. So I stayed. I stayed in Granada, Seville, Cordoba, Malaga, Madrid, Barcelona. I went through all of it from Portugal. And most of it was on buses for 4 or 5 hours, literally. And I'm seeing all of this stuff come out. And when you're over there, you can feel the ancestors. When I was in the Alhambra, I felt that. I felt what was going on at this particular time. When I went over to Tangiers, which is only an hour boat ride, and then when I started getting the history, because when you're in Tarifa, where you will see the Rock of Gibraltar at, in Tarifa, where the word tariff come from, I'm reading the history. I got a lot of photos I didn't put up yet because I'm putting them in books and calendars. So in Tarifa, it's a history that's there, and you sit there and talk to the people, and I'm there with my fez on, and they give you the history about how Spain was part of Africa. I found a spot out there in Granada was called Santa Maria de Africa. You can probably Google it. Santa Maria de Africa. It's called the Port of Africa up near the Alhambra. And it's old. It's not, nobody's in it, but it's an old fort, like a port up there. But all of that was part of Africa. Portugal was part of Africa. So when you're there seeing these places, you be like, oh my God, this is crazy. Like, this is all us. Parts of here is part of Africa. In Florida. Mm-hmm. I'm in Orlando right now, but I was in Miami, last week. But all of this is connected to one another. And we need to teach our children that we all didn't come as slaves on slave ships.
Right.
The key thing we need to teach them, because if they don't think they did anything, they're not going to look at themselves. You know what I mean? They're going to be like, I ain't did nothing anyway, G. You know what I mean? Right. I ain't did nothing. We ain't create nothing. But when you go to these places and you see it for yourself, not what Sabir Bey says, see it for yourself. But I do have a lot of footage when I was there. But you got to go. You have to go and see it for yourself. Do that for your children, man. Invest in your children that way.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about what we can do to save our children. We started out, specifically, talking about, our sons, because so many of our young men are losing their lives. I think I read the statistics. I know that a lot of people were not on, when we first started, and the fact that, we know that, just 2 months ago, your son, lost his life, and
Yeah,
you've yourself had some experiences that are parallel what your son ultimately went through. It's just that you survived, but so many of our young people are not surviving. And even in its realness and in its really very, still very fresh pain, you are working to put it into the hearts and minds of your people, our people, that if anybody's going to say, we have to save our sons.
yes, we
and
have to.
and just like I said in reading that quote, it starts with knowing yourself. I mean, if you don't know yourself, and that's what a lot of times I think our young people are seeing, well, y'all don't know who are you this week? If we
Exactly.
don't
Who are you this week?
right,
That's really what's going on. Who are you this week? I don't.
who are you this week? And they're confused about everything that's going on, and so we can't get a footing on about who we are, but yet we want to make sure that they be who we say they should be.
But that's again, it's a
They're
fight.
not there. These young people are not in that do as I say do, not as I do. They're
No.
not there anymore.
And I said this to people, and honestly, I said, I talked to both of my sons. They didn't want to hear anything about this consciousness, and they was raised in it. They didn't want to hear nothing about the Moors because it wasn't entertaining to them. And that's why I was saying, let me take y'all on the journey with me so you can see it. See places are bigger than Philadelphia. It's bigger than Philadelphia. But when you have people sitting over saying, I don't want to go nowhere, I don't want to go or leave America, dude, but you go to Atlantic City. You know what I mean? For fantasy. Or you go to LA looking for yourself. Like
Yeah,
Harvey
so
said.
all those things have been created to keep us, comfortable we have the cushy prison, but it's a prison nonetheless. And so I know somebody said that this is not a prison, but I really, it is. I mean, the whole planet may be a prison to an extent, but the continent on which we call home is under occupation, and there's a vastness out there, and they don't own everything, even though they're tentacles.
Can I say
Yeah,
something?
sure.
They said this is not a prison. You wouldn't even know what the hell a prison is if it smacked you in your face. They have to make, like you said, they make you comfortable. One thing about the Russian government, they let you know you don't own anything. Over here, they make you believe you own something, and you're going to pay all the tax dollars and everything else. They're going to make you believe it. In the federal government, in the federal prison, my brother did 21 years in the feds. In the federal prison, they don't let you get comfortable. They move you every other month from one state to the next state. In the federal prison, they don't let you get comfortable. What it is, we are so comfortable. That's why you wouldn't even know. And that's why people were saying when you leave here, you will see how much you were enslaved. When I went overseas, I sat on the bed twice. The 2 times I went before, the first 2 times I went. Every time I went back, because I would go back every 3-4 months. When I sat on the bed in Spain, I said, I am colonized, and I can admit this mug. And that's what Franz Fanon said about the colonization. He said the oppressor will oppress until the oppressor oppresses themselves. Franz Fanon.
Yeah, and that's what happens when And I worked as a pastoral volunteer in the prison for several years. I can't say that I was never in prison as an inmate, but I spent lots of hours in the men's prison right here at Gander Hill, and or Howard R. Young is called now. And I spent a lot of time in there. And one of the things I realized from a lot of people who've been in those situations, it is very true that once they've been in long enough, they actually have this prison mentality. And so when they come out, I don't care what you try to do to get them in, back into society as it is, that you have guys that'll sit in their rooms, and they still want to wear those slippers with the socks, and they looking at they gonna go to bed at a certain time because like that. It's a lot of things that they become indoctrinated in, and they carry it out here. Well, we're indoctrinated by the same token. And so when we go else, to think of going outside of here, as much as they want to get out. I used to call the prison it used to be called Gander Hill until they changed it to the name of one of their wardens. But at the Gander Hill, when it was called Gander Hill, we used to call it the Gander Hilton. You know why? Because they would check in and check out and check in. And check out.
Next time.
They knew they could get 3 hots in a cot there. So they knew they knew the routine. They may not know the guys that have come in since they left the last time, but they figured that they can, if they made it the last 3 times they were in, they can make it this time, especially if it's winter time. You know what I'm saying? But that's the wrong mentality. And that's sort of the mentality of what we're facing. And I'm not going to get into the politics and stuff, but even that just makes me want to put my finger in my throat and throw up with what's going on.
But you know, the funny thing is, at one time going to jail wasn't cool. Now they make it sound like it's cool. When you go to like being high, they make it sound like all these things that you look at and say, okay, being high wasn't a cool thing. Going to jail wasn't a cool thing. You follow me? So they had to make it cool. That's what they're doing to our youth. And that's why I tell people, it's not necessarily saying that, you know, America or United States is a prison. We're not saying that, G. It's just the mentality. Carter G. Woodson, who wrote the book, The Miseducation of the Negro, he said, when you can control a man's thinking, you don't have to worry about his actions. What happens, they already got us. So again, it's going back to the clean and dirty glass of water. Take your children and travel. I know some of y'all may not want to get rid of your car notes. I haven't owned a car in years and I don't care. I'd rather go travel. You know, I watch people. I was on a shuttle one day listening to these 2 Europeans talk to somebody, and they said, we don't own a car because we too busy traveling. I said, damn, they got Ubers and Lyfts out here today. Think about what I just said, how we want to hold on to materialistic things instead of teaching or traveling and see the world, make connections, build bridges abroad with other people in other nations. That's why I was going. It wasn't for vacation. I was going over to find connections and build. I met people from Senegal. I was supposed to be going to Senegal soon. I talked to people over there. I'm sitting in these, like, looking at these people as I'm over these countries, and they saying, yo, brother, you come over here. We got you. Don't worry about nothing. I'm like, okay, cool. That's what we need to do. We can't not get stuck here, and we can't have our children just stuck here. Yes, America is ours. Yes, it is. It's ours too. But the whole world is ours. The whole planet is ours. So why are you stuck in one spot? And I said why most can't leave and won't leave because of those issues I said earlier. Child support, taxes, or some other crazy stuff, or something that they want their name on their nationality on a passport, one of them. And I don't know why they want that. That's kind of crazy. Don't take no, and I'm going to say this, don't take no pictures with your fez on your head. Don't do that. That's a no. That's a no. Don't do it. And I'm glad I didn't do it. Because when you go to these places, you're going to, it's like a, for instance, if I was in Tunis, right? I was going to go to Israel, right? From Tunis. You know how hard that would have been for me to go to Tunis? It would have been easy, but it would have been hard. It would have stopped me. Number one, my passport says Sabir Bey, right? If I would have left from Tunis or Morocco, an Islamic country, and go into Israel, I would have got stopped and searched and checked. And that's why I tell a lot of these Moors who keep trying to say, well, brother, I want to have my name on my passport or a fez on. No, because in these countries, and that's why they tell people don't do it when you really go get it. If you're going into an Islamic or a hostile place, you may get checked, kidnapped, whatever. And I tell people this all the time. You got to be very careful. You got to be careful. So don't be in a rush to actually try to do that, you know, because you may be in Islam. In order for me to actually go to Israel, I would have to go all the way to Europe again, from Europe, and then go into Israel.
Well, you know, it is, you know, of course, I'm just reading in the various comments, and some agree and some don't agree, and that's perfectly fine.
If they never travel, they can't tell you anything. So
right. So, you know, if you've not gone anywhere, you would not, you would probably assume, but I've heard from others also, you know, that, you know, it's some of the things we think work don't really work.
You can read them off to me. I'll address them out here. We can switch up. We can talk about that for a second. They can take whatever they want to bring up. You can bring up, because it is what it is. And I said, I'm doing this for my son. Like, I have to do this. And again, we can't keep saying that if we did not do it. If anybody who did it, tell them to show and prove, because you cannot tell me anything. You have to show me. That's how that is. I don't care what it is. You have to show me, don't tell me. And anybody who do travel will actually tell you that same thing. So, I'm not here to scare anybody, but it's just the reality of what it is.
Yeah, it is. So we can burn down. So Gunnar Beat says, so we can burn down Target because of George Floyd, but can't burn down the systems for our freedom.
That's a guy that gets on here just keep talking crazy. So you don't need to burn down anything. Get educated. Yeah. You don't need to burn down nothing, because if they burn down everything, if you burn down everything, you still got to go to the white man. People, I used to have a saying that people say that I'm God. And I was like, if you God, then let me see you produce toilet paper. Because as soon as the white man don't say you toilet paper, you're going to all go crazy. So again, be smart. You know what I mean? Just be smart about it. It ain't about burning anything down. It's about using your tools. That's it. Use your tools, man. He's going to keep writing crazy stuff on there, so he don't even come on my Instagram. So I know who that is. We all know who that is. He don't come on Instagram, so let him keep talking.
Well, most people are being positive with regard to that. And I know we were hoping that Hawthorne would be able to come on. I'm not sure within the next.
Let me see.
Yeah,
we can go. Whatever.
Yeah. So I want to thank you all really for sharing this video, sharing this live with others. And still, we have about 20 more minutes to go, and we're gonna, there's still some folks that might need to come on and hear what's being said. We are talking mainly about saving our sons and saving ourselves. First things first. If you can't, if somebody's drowning, two of you are in the water, and somebody, you're both drowning, you can't save the other first person before you save yourself. If you're on an airplane and you got your child, I think they tell you to put the thing on you first, on yourself first, right? So
strap your Jones in before you do anything else with anybody else. And I'm gonna say this to you: you ain't gotta be. Listen, if you want to read off the stuff to me, you can read them off, and I'll address them as they come. So it is what it is. So, do what you do. Make fun of it. Take advantage of all of that. All of this.
Now, let's see. I'm just looking. Here's one person said that she said, I've traveled outside. Nadine Figueroa Baez says, I've traveled outside of American continent, yet have not really traveled my own land. Crazy, right? And for some, it may even be that. It may be because there are some people, believe it or not, that have never gone outside of their city or their neighbor, their hood, so to speak, except the furthest part they would have gotten is if they were bused for school.
I told you that. Listen, if you go back and listen to the Stick Up Kids, what Hawthorne James said, what I think was a brilliant movie, and this is what we was trying to do in the movie that we did called Abandon Act. He said, you trying to go to California and look for yourself. Most never left. Most of us never left to see this. You know what I mean? We don't go outside and see this. If I had the money that a lot of these rappers have, I wouldn't be here. These people be buying land and property in these other countries, and they stay over there most of the time. So when people say that, I'm like, oh, come on, y'all, you're lying to yourself, man. We are really lying to ourselves. But yeah, it's an experience though, and honestly, that's what I wanted my sons to experience, that trip, so they can sing.
JB says, we Moors here in Central America love you Moors from North America. Thank you. We love you too.
No doubt. That's us too.
Yeah.
That's us. All the islands are us. It's all of us. I just shared that with a Puerto Rican today. I said, they're us. Borincans, that's us.
I talked to a brother from I think he knows you from Puerto Rico today. He said he used to do the videotaping up in New York.
The twins. I was great. I might go to Puerto Rico next week.
I spoke with Twin for like over an hour today.
I might go down Puerto Rico next week. Who knows? I might fly down there.
Okay.
It depends. He told me, he be telling me, he said, you got to come here, Sabir. Then I'm like, the brother from Senegal said, you got to come over here and talk to us over in Senegal. I'm like, I'll be there real soon. I'm coming.
Diego Wilcox says, I have a question for Sabir Bey. My question is this. Do you think the Moorish Americans are from Africa? If so, why?
What do you mean from Africa? I don't understand what he mean. We from both parts. I don't think he heard what I said. I said from over here and over there.
Well, it's true that, if you push the pieces called continents together, you'll find that we were, north of what we call the east coast of America fits right into the west coast of Africa. The land, the soils, and so forth are exactly the same on both sides. So.
This is the thing, sisters. They don't understand. Like, I just set up here and said Portugal and Spain was part of Africa. Mm-hmm. If I just said that, then you think that this is not connected to it? When you have floods, I was in Texas when it flooded. If I didn't have technology or radio, last time I had that bad flood, it flooded. Do you know in Tunisia and Tunis, in certain parts in Tunis was underwater? It's a desert now.
Really?
Oh, Google it. I went to Hammamet, and I think it was like another 2 hours. I forgot the name of the island, but it was underwater, and now it's a desert. So it's the same thing that can happen here. It's still connected. Rather, some of us may got caught on that side. Some of us may got caught on this side. Some of us may have came over here and seen us was here. This is the thing. It's a lot of research. So we were both parts, man. We was over there and over here. Even when I was in Turkey, they was telling me the same thing. That's where the Beys come from. They was telling me all this when I was in Turkey talking to the Kurdish people. I'm over there talking to Kurds, tripping, like doing stuff that I know I ain't supposed to be doing. But it's all the same. They know about us being Moors.
Yeah. So Gunnar Beats said, I just want Sabir to produce a product and sell it to us so we can support him. He's a smart brother.
I already got one. Go tell him to go on. Let me show you what he can do. I got a lot. And we working on Out of Heavy as the Crown right now. So I did something. Give me 1 second. I'm going to pull this up and he can go get it. He keeps saying that, but he wouldn't go do it. You can go right here. Let me show you something. Go there. Go to my email. Go to that email and purchase it right there. $79. You'll get a whole lot of stuff in there. It was interviewed by my brother in
what is that email? I'm not sure. I see it says with the Traveling Moor, but your actual email is not clear.
SabirBeyRadio@gmail.com.
So okay, so SABIR
BEY radio@gmail.com. And what I did with that, because I did calendars. Let me show you something real quick. Give me 1 second. So he keeps saying produce things. He ain't going to do anything. Here's the product. This is some of the stuff that I did already. This is 2019 calendar. Give me 1 second. This is, damn, I'm looking at this camera. How do I do this? Oh, this is the 2019. Taj has both of these, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's one. This is the 2020 calendar I did, which we working on the 2021. And in these calendars is basically for children also, and it's all of our scholars' birthdays or solar returns. Taj is in here too. Dr. Ben is in here also. Sabi is in here also. Everybody's in here. So don't tell me what I'll produce. What else he want me to produce? He's not going to purchase anything. So I have a lot. But
well, maybe he will. Maybe he will. Hopefully he will. Hopefully he will.
And that what I just showed you was a brother, Jeff, in Denver. He interviewed me and asked me about my trip over there and what it took and how I did it. And it's $79. And we can shoot the joint straight to you. $79.
Is that a video or is that a package?
It's the file. It's two parts to it. It was actually, give me 1 minute. It was 40 questions, 50 minutes of how I did everything and as I was traveling.
Okay.
That's
a way to support you so you can go. Would you consider doing some, once things open up again, taking maybe groups to the places that you've now made contacts and have discovered the best modes of travel and where to stay and whatever? Would you?
I was going to do that. I did that already. Shout out to Sister Jasmine Daniels. We went to last July. Jasmine paid me to take 10 people from Nevis, from the Caribbean. They put their money up. They paid me and actually paid for my trip, my hotel, everything. We went to Portugal, Spain, and Morocco. They was all from Nevis. We were there for a week, for I think about a month. We literally traveled, and who was on the trip with me was a professor from Nevis, which is the Caribbean, and it was a school teacher from Nevis. And when we left, it was so, when I first went there, it was kind of crazy. I said, oh, I'm gonna have a problem with him. He's a professor, you know. At the end of the trip, they were so like, yo, I've never ever, he was an elder. He was a professor in Nevis. He said, I've never experienced something like this in my life. My mother used to tell me that we was from Nevis. I mean, from Portugal. Like Siri, we went to the Moorish castle. She took Jasmine took her son. I think he was 21, 22, and I forgot how old the youngest one was. And her and her sons, we walked up to the Moorish castle in Portugal. You can Google the Moorish castle in Portugal. I took mad pictures. So we did that. But again, a lot of our people don't have passports, because you do need a passport to do this. I'm gonna keep it real with you. You're not, and anybody tell you ain't going anywhere without it. So if people are sincere about it, I don't mind doing it. I'm with it. I can tell you, I've been in these places by myself multiple times.
I don't know if you see these questions, but this indigenous Moor is putting a bunch of, says, we'll see, we're from America. Let me see what else.
What's the point? It doesn't matter if you're from
Tariq Bey say we from here, and Dr. Abdullah Bey. Okay. Ask you what your nationality is.
Well, I just told him. What part are they missing? These are the people that's coming up. I just told them that. If I show you what I put on my documents when I travel, this is the thing. And that's why when you said earlier about people don't want to do anything, they watch these YouTubes. That's what they're doing. If I just told you a million times that we were from here and there, why they keep asking the same question? On my documents, when you go through immigration, and I know they watch my videos because I know who they are, my documents everywhere I've been says American Moor. Factual when you go through immigration. I'll post it up again so they can see it. So don't keep asking me something that you already know the answer to. That is the problem. So I am from here. I was born and raised here. My mother was born here. My grandmother was born here. My great-grandmother that was 106 was born here. What's the point of their asking? You see what I'm saying? What is the point?
I don't know.
This is crazy. And this is why I said they don't want to change. They're watching YouTube and they're watching Facebook, but they're not going to go find it for themselves. And you're right. That's why I said I'll do the trips. If you want to do it, we supposed to did another one to the Caribbean. Actually, Jasmine was supposed to do another one to the Caribbean. He's going to pay me again to go to the Caribbean, to Nevis. It was Nevis. It's about 4 or 5 islands we supposed to went to before the Corona kicked off. That's it. So we're going to do it. Somebody said, man, YouTubers. Exactly. That's who they are, YouTubers.
Here we go. Gunner Beats, produce a movie like Roots, where we enslaved wait a minute, where we enslaved them, since we did it first, and it's in our history, reverse the psychological effects, show where we traveled and conquered like they do in their movies.
Let me explain something to you. See, this is the problem with these cats. No matter how many times I keep saying the same thing over. Hawthorne James, we did a movie called Abandon Act. One thing that Hawthorne James said, the reason why he reached out to me, he said, because of your mind. He said, no matter what you do, you need the finances. No matter what you do, you need finances. So that's why I'm moving around, so I can get the money from people that have money overseas. So you have to go make allies in these places. So if he actually really want to see something, why don't he go pick up Out of Darkness? This has been out since 2016. So we have another one coming out called Heavy is the Crown. Is he going to put money behind this? See, he's saying things, but he's not doing anything. He can hit my Cash App up, $ Sabir Bey. I bet you he won't.
And somebody is asking the cost of the calendars.
The calendars are $25. And actually there's a sister that bought both of them. She bought the 2020 and the 2019 calendars. So we're working on the 2021 run. Is going to be on North Africa. So each year I've been doing, and I'm doing a book. I did a book on Antonio Gaudi also, and I have other books that I'm working on for children so they can see who these people are. So it takes finances to do all this stuff. So they're $25. You can email me, SabirBeyRadio@gmail.com.
Which I already posted up.
For a whole lot. They ain't lift a finger to do anything. This is the crazy thing. You know what's funny? When I went to Tangiers and to go to where the treaty was at. It was funny because brother Hanif Shabazz is the one said, "Yo, I'll pay you, dude. Go in and take a picture." And I, it was crazy when I went over there though, but I got there kind of late the second time.
I'm looking. I shouldn't even be giving this person this much.
Don't give it to him. It's the same person. He's trying to tell him he can sit on one-on-one with me too. You can pay me one-on-one. Just tell him that, and he'll leave. You know what Bear said? Tell somebody you want $500 and see how fast they hang up. So tell him he can pay me to sit with me one-on-one.
Listen, I had a conversation with a brother once about 2 years ago, and he asked me so many questions, and I looked up, and it was maybe an hour and a half later or something, and we were still on phone. This is how I get calls. But one thing this brother taught me, from that. So he said to me, "What is your Cash App or your PayPal?" And or no, he said, "What is your address?" He said, "I want to send you something." I said, "For what?" He said, "Because your time you've just spent." He said, "Time is money." At the time, he said money. But and so I said, "Oh no." I said, "I talk to people all day long." He said, "And you should be compensated." And this brother, about 4 or 5 days later, I got an envelope, and wrapped up in yellow lined paper was a C note. And he was sending me that like maybe once or twice a month. If he said your time, and I was like, "You don't have to pay me." And he said, "Wait a minute."
And this is what people don't say. Those two people that you see on there are people that come on my videos every day. Listen to me. I never see nothing come to Cash App from them. So I know I've been in this game for too long. I've been rocking radio for a long time.
And what is your Cash App anyway?
My Cash App is $ Sabir Bey. $ Sabir Bey. And it might say $ Sabir Bey Radio. You'll see my daughter on there. I'm sitting there looking at my daughter.
So is it Sabir Bey or Sabir Bey Radio?
Sabir Bey.
Okay. So
what these dudes will do, they'll sit on here and keep throwing things and think I'm a fall for the bait. They don't realize I'm good at what I do. You can't bait me into it, but you can sit with me. I do one-on-ones, so it ain't gonna happen. Or they can put me in their city. I'm free for that.
Well, he did say you can't get a passport saying more American. I don't know what you can get a passport for, but I know you have a passport and you do travel.
I got a whole lot of stamps in that motherfucker too. It ain't gonna say Moorish American on it. No, it is not. This is the thing. A passport is to pass from one port to the next. Is to go make connections and negotiate. That's what a passport is. That's it. That's all. You don't have to read into it. That's what it is. So if you don't have it, matter of fact, you ain't going in these other countries. I'm gonna keep it real with you. In certain places, you better have it, because if you don't have it and you think you could just go there, what do you think is going to happen next? If you went in a country without a passport,
you're stuck.
You sure? You may get kidnapped. Nobody know who you are. Don't nobody know where you at. Think about what I just said.
There's a lot of trafficking.
They want to get you. They know who you are. As soon as you open your mouth, you're speaking like a United Statian, your language. You don't know no other language. The only language you know is this. This is why I said I would teach my daughter 5 languages before she's 10 years old. My daughter will learn. And the languages are being used over there is French is one, Spanish is another one. No matter what country you popping up in, you better know some Spanish and you better know some French, because if you're going into these places, you're going to have to speak those languages. And in Tunisia, they speak Turkey, they speak Turkish. In Spain, and Tunis, they speak Amazigh. The language is called Amazigh, or they speak French, and then some of them speak Arabic. So it's many that you better know all these languages when you're moving around. You have to know it. It's like Art of War. Know your terrain. You have to know.
Email address again is Sabir.
Can I type it in here too?
Yeah, but I almost have it here because somebody's asking.
Sabir Bey Radio at gmail.com.
Okay. All right, there we go. I got it.
Yeah, but you have to know all these things. And that's why I would love to take. I was in Morocco. I said I would love to take imagine 10 Moors walking through this. If I was one Moor walking in Morocco with a fez on, imagine if you had 10 or 20 of us walking, how they would bow down to you. That's how crazy it was. It was in Turkey, if you walk like that, they just like, we know who you are. You know what I mean? We know. Just imagine the impact that we will have. And then on top of that, getting the finances that we need to get stuff done. It's not about just going over there. It's about going over there and making connections with these people. That's what Europeans do too. Everybody does that. That's what the Asians are doing. They over there deep buying up stuff.
Mm-hmm. Well, we are. I'm just looking just to see if there's any. I didn't put up all kinds of stuff. Never chose. Yeah, your nationality is Ethiopian. What is this?
My nationality is Ethiopian.
You know who said that? They probably say that on your page.
Say it on my page too. They don't even listen. They better. I'll help them educate their little mental. Tell them to buy books. Tell them to invest in themselves.
Yeah.
Invest in yourself. Try buying a book. You don't lose this battle with me. He never comes to my Instagram, so that's what they do.
Yeah.
I have my fez on my passport picture. Moroccan customs guys were shook. It ain't about that. In Morocco, you can do that. I said if you go to a hostile country, Israel, if you go to a country, you're going to go through it. Trust me when I tell you. I'm not going to lead people in the wrong way. You have to be smart about what you're doing. You're always supposed to be incognito. You got to understand that, people. So don't be silly. If you want to do it like I did it, you can get that, the 50 questions, 40 questions, 50 minutes. I explained it. All my stuff said American Moor when I was going through customs, period. And they keep that sheet of paper. They don't give that back to you. Matter of fact, let me see if I can find one on me so I can show you what it looks like. It's some of them in different places. Looks different. If I can find it. I don't think I have it on me. But there's a little sheet of paper that they give you. I thought I had it. As you travel. Nah, I thought I had it with me, but I don't. Yeah, but they give you a customs piece of paper when you travel. And you have to fill it out. It's no ifs, ands, buts, no way around it. You have to do it. Period. Or you can stay here.
Well, listen, we know you've traveled, and we know you had to do whatever you had to do to be in those countries and to move around the way you did is what has to be done by anyone that would want to do similar, regardless of what folks want to say to the contrary. And if they don't want to go along with certain things being on the passport or not having a passport at all, then they just won't make the trips. It just won't happen. And it's no ifs, ands about it. Ifs, ands, and buts about it. And we know that in a perfect scenario, we could go where we want because all the land is ours, but we're in occupation, and let's be reasonable. So if those who don't have any desire or means to go anywhere will probably be more likely to raise the most ire and stink about going somewhere. But those who can should. Those who can, should take that opportunity to see the vastness of your estate. Because
can I say something to you real quick, because this is the thing. Madib, I've actually paid for the brother Madib from Tunis. I paid for him to go with me, right? Mind you, he's from Tunis. When we got to Newark Airport, we paid $100 to go from Philly to Newark. He had to turn around and come back home because he couldn't go because his passport, I think it was expired a month or two before that. So no matter where you go on this planet, you're going to use their currency. You're going to use their system. No matter where you go, it's about how to use it. So if Madib has 2 passports, United States, and he had one from Tunis, and one of them, I think the one in Tunis he didn't bring, but the other one expired. So I was willing to even pay for him to go to the embassy in New York because we were closer to get it, but it wasn't made out. I wasn't getting ready to go when I was going to leave, right? But he said, no, go. So he had to pay another $100 to go back to Philly in a lift because they wouldn't let him on a plane. So when I hear people say you don't need it, I'll be like, come on, dude, y'all got to be real with people. They're not letting you go, G. I'm just keeping it real with you. They're not. If somebody said they did it, they had another form of ID or a passport and they used a Moorish ID. Let's keep it 100. They're not. I'm not going to put people in harm's way at all.
You're just telling it like it is. You're telling it like it is. And it is what it is, you know, and I appreciate your candor. That's one of the things I, respect about you, especially when I'm watching you when you're doing your lives and you're just like, look, hey, this is with facts. I'm gonna tell you like this. And if you don't like it, I've heard you, and then I heard you, not too long ago, I think speaking with a lady, and I was laying on the
Oh,
bed watching, and I was thinking, shut her down, shut her down.
I didn't, no, because listen, I got to her. See, if you do that,
You did eventually. I realized that because but she started crying for you, and but before that, I was like, what the heck? And I was like, why is he? But there's a time and place for everything, and you knew obviously that you needed to give allow her to vent in the way that she was, because I did hear her come around. I did, but at the beginning, I'm like, you didn't hear me talking through the screen. I was like, hang up on her.
Hang up on nah. And that's the problem with people, because a lot of these Moors are very arrogant with people, and they tell me this. They don't answer certain questions. They come at them and say, if a person, this is just me. If a person said they black, I'm to the point, okay, well, let's educate on why they're not black. You follow me? Because you want to chase a person away. You're going to chase them.
Right.
I don't want to chase you away. I want you to get it. I want to make sure you get it before I leave. That's it. I'm not here to say, oh, no, you're wrong. I don't do stuff like that. So again, you sometimes have to humble yourself with it. And that's what I did with her. I understood where she was coming from because she was taught that. She was taught that that's what it was. It's the same thing with this whole traveling and all the passport. I'm like, listen, I understand where you're going at. I know y'all heard all the videos in the world, but this is the real deal. I did it. I traveled, and I'll keep doing it. And I'm not going to just guide you on any of these things. And I'm going to tell you this, one of the places that you don't want to play in is Turkey. You don't want to do that over there. Seriously. Because you got to get a visa too.
Right.
Over
So I get it. But listen, we have to do this again. We have to do this again. This is a great interview, and like I said, a very tough subject. For those of you who again weren't here at the outset before we started talking about everything else, we really had a poignant conversation about saving our sons, and we do again, give you our most sincere and heartfelt condolences on the loss of your son Amir. I know it's hard. I know it's hard, and I know it's fresh. But thank you for your strength and your courage. Thank you for all that.
Because this is my therapy. Thank y'all, because this is when I do videos. These are therapy sessions for me. These are therapy sessions. So I thank you. For this.
Well, indeed, we appreciate you coming on and what you shared, and just you being you, because we want you to we all need healing, and so when one bleeds, we all bleed, we all hurt, so we don't want another mother's son, or a father's son or daughter to be lost needlessly. We don't want that. So let us know ourselves, like when we know ourselves for ourselves, then we don't have to worry about whether or not somebody else is giving us the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, because the truth is within you and it's within me. And so with that, I want to let you say your last greetings as you get back to being in sunny Florida.
Shout out to Brother Taj. Shout out to my brother Taj. It's funny because I laugh at my son Amir and how he would tell me, he would be like, I'll hurt somebody for Taj. I just hear his voice, like, because Taj, remember Amir when he was little. It was so funny because I would hear him as he see Taj now. He'd be like, I hurt somebody for Taj. I'm like, wow, dude, like that.
A lot of people feel that way. A lot of people feel like that. A lot of people feel like that.
What about me? Like,
he love you, but something about Taj, because I've had some people call me, and they were elders, and they be talking about how much they enlightened and all that, and then one brother said to me some stuff. He's like, I'm from so and so. You let him know I MF up for him. I'm like, ooh.
Both like that with Taj. They know. because they were babies when
I don't pass those messages on, but it's just that sometimes, a lot of times, that's what people say. But Taj has been, even though some will say, well, he's been saying the same thing for 30 years, and I say that means he's
because that's
consistent.
Todd.
He's Taj, and
He's
it's consistency, and he's a foundation man.
Exactly, that's him, and that's why I tell people Todd is going to be Todd. Let him be what you do your part.
There you go. He's not trying to give it all to you.
And that's why when we did this, I put him in the Out of Darkness so he can actually get a royalty check. Everybody from this film was getting a royalty check 4 times a year. 4 times. Who gets a royalty check out of a documentary? Name one of them. Everybody in it was getting a royalty check. I was getting 2. So we have another one coming out called Heavy as the Crown. That's getting ready to pop too. It'll be out by January. It's been worked on for like 3 or 4 years though.
Well, everything now, with everything's changing, and I think I might do a documentary. I don't know what I'm gonna do it on, but I think I might have to put something together, some mini something together to. But I do have another book coming out, so I need to
talk to you about that too. I need to rap with you, but also I'm working on this. It's a documentary. A brother from Morocco. It's supposed to be on Leo Africanus, and it was a lot of stuff. It blew me away about him. Yeah, that's not even his real name. I was like, he called me from Morocco and said, yo, Sabir, he's living in Italy. And he was like, he went to Morocco, came back and said, yo, can you come on as a producer to this film, this documentary? But he's trying to get the finances together. Because he's over there. He said, I'm trying to get the finances together now to actually do this piece, but I want you to come on because you are well traveler. You know the history of Leo Africanus, right? I said, okay, cool. That's what's up. I'm getting paid for that. And then I did a movie with Big Red. You can go to IMDb. We did a movie called Abandon Act. Big Red is Hawthorne James. It was called Abandon Act. And in this movie, we put this book in, 100 Amazing Facts About the Negro. I came on as a co-writer, but they asked me that I want to be a producer in it or come down as a writer. But you can go to IMDb and punch in my name, Sabir Bey. You actually see it. But it's been out for a couple of years. You know what I mean? But it's just short. Maybe we might show it at the House of Reawakening Minds. Maybe I might do that. Show it there and have Hawthorne James come down.
Well, we would, we thought we were going to get him on, but maybe we can get you and Hawthorne James back.
I'll call him when I get off of here.
Right. So, we've seen him. I've seen him in, I did see the Stick Up Kids, and I've seen him in some other movies. But, the brother it's I guess pretty much involved in our youth also and knowledge, and that's important. So
man, where you at, man? Here you go, right here.
Is that him?
Where you at, man?
I'm at home right now.
We was waiting for you to come on, bruh.
Oh man, there's so much on my mind because of the house shit. It's like I totally forgot. My bad, man.
We still on if you want to jump on just for a second. I just talked about the movie.
Okay, hold on. Let me find it out.
Talk to him for a minute. He's great. Hold on 1 second.
Okay. Well, we are going to see if Hawthorne James is going to be able to join us from the link I sent him. It was an email. So
an email or what?
I sent you an email. It was from Glitch CCM, and it was the link for the show.
Okay, hold on. Dr. Reed, what time was it? What time did you send it? Take me.
Oh, was it about seven something?
Oh, okay. Log in. Sabir.
Yes, that's it. Let's see if we can get you on.
It's taking me a minute.
It's okay. It's okay.
Dr. G.
So.
It ain't Zoom, is it? I ain't got
No, but it is visible. But it is. We will see you. If you could just put it.
I gotta go at least put a shirt on. Hold
on. Okay. Yeah, we don't want you to be caught off guard. It's about it's about 500 folk watching. So I guess. So I'm like I said, I'm grateful to you all. You know.
I had to go get a shirt.
Oh, did you get a shirt?
Yeah, I'm putting it on now. Hold up, step.
Oh, okay, everybody hears you. Let me see. This is a treat to get you to come on. I wasn't sure if you were going to make it. Let me see. He's putting his shirt on, Sabir.
I heard.
Okay.
He ain't never dressed.
Now when I'm home, partner.
I know.
we're this is good. This is good. So we hear you.
Tell you a little bit more about the movie too. So it was short.
So somebody says saving the best for last. Ashe. You're saving more of the best. This was a great interview. This was an absolutely fantastic show. I know. See. Okay, let me see. There you are. Well, we don't have. I'm gonna bring you in, but that's well. You're not. You didn't click your camera. Kind of have an echo.
Not turning the phone up.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you have to. Oh, he needs to get off the phone and just click in and use his camera.
I'm off the phone.
Are you off the phone? But did you click the camera? Let me see if I can get you in. There you are. Let me see.
There's camera one facing front.
Well, we lost you. You were there a little bit. You were blurry, but
praise the Lord.
Let me see. Let me bring. We'll see. It'll come back in. Saving it. Okay. If he calls back in, because he was there for a minute.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah. So we can just keep on talking for a few minutes, and here. Let me see. Here we go. Device is not connected. Add to stream. We're trying to get him in. There you are.
Can you see me?
Yep.
No.
We don't. We saw you briefly. Let me see.
Because I can barely hear you guys.
You can't hear us? We can hear you very well.
We can hear you good.
We hear you very well.
Oh, okay, because I can barely hear you guys.
Wow. We can hear you, bro.
We hear you very well. Look, somebody say, "Yo, that's that actor dude."
Yeah, that's that actor dude.
That's my brother. Hey, Hawthorne, I was just telling him about the movie that we did, Abandoned Act, and how he scared the hell out of me when we was filming, though, But
I can't hear you. Sabir, I can't hear you.
Well,
and I've got my phone up all the way.
And we hear you, though. We hear you loud and clear.
You loud and clear.
We absolutely do hear you. And I don't know what the problem is, but keep talking. Oh, he'll come back on again. So, what other movies has he been in?
Oh my gosh, he got a list of Speed. What is the other one? With Morgan Freeman. Oh my God, I can't think of the name of that movie. What's the one? Amistad too.
Okay.
Speed, Amistad, Martin Shows.
I don't know what I just did. I just made the screen so big I can't even see nothing.
Thanks, but he called me. When he called me up, the movie was, it was supposed to be.
Here we go. And here he is right here, but I made my screen crazy. It all of a sudden it got real big. Let me see how I can undo this. Oh gosh. This is crazy. Oh wow. We having a little bit of here we go. Okay, here we go. We're starting to go down. Zoom in 25%. All of a sudden I've got this like big screen that I can't go ahead, keep talking, Sabir, while I try to make this smaller.
When he called me and sent me the script, it was like I'm like, he said, could you change, put some authenticity in it? I'm like, what do you want me to put inside this film? You know what I mean? Like it was, so I gave the girl 100 Amazing Facts About the Negroes. Molly, her name is Molly, the one that actually, the original writer of the film. It was 100 Amazing Facts About the Negro, The Alchemist. I think it was a law book, and it was something else we had in the scene. But she had to literally like look up all the stuff that I gave her. And she was kind of scared because she didn't want to use this because she was saying something about copywritten. But this is actually in public domain now, 100 Amazing Facts. But we understood why she was afraid to do it, because she wanted to be more so like Hollywood, you know.
Okay.
And it was dope to actually work with him, you know. I mean, for him to even reach out to me and say, yo, I want you to be a part of this film. I was like, what I'm gonna do? You know what I mean? Like, what I'm gonna do in this film?
Well, it looks like I'm having like a crazy time trying to get the screen back down to normal so I can see everything. I can't even find my stuff over here. It's so big I can't even see anything. Oh, this is crazy. The screen is like super large all of a sudden. And it is I don't know how to make it. Wait a minute, here we go. Here we go. Maybe that is 25%. Maybe this is it. Reset. There we go. Sort of. Thank you. All right. So, and now it's really huge. But I see you. Let me see if I can bring him in here. I don't see him. I can add him to the stream. Are you there?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes.
We can hear you.
We can just talk to you. Because we're having trouble bringing you on visually, but we hear you. And so I think Sabir wanted you to talk about the movie,
The Abandoned Act.
The Abandoned Act.
Yeah, it's I don't know how much Sabir has told you about it, but it's about a father who, I mean, just his life was screwed up, as a lot of Black men's lives are screwed up, getting into the system, etc. And then he gets into prison this last time. And the character that Sabir plays, that I wanted him to play, is somebody that finally is able to get through to him and show him about the history of who we really are. Now, Sabir himself is in jail, of course, but but he has taught himself, and he's educated himself, and he's starting to educate other people in the system. And so I'm twice as old as he is, probably, maybe 1.5 times old. But it's finally something finally clicks. And it's like, wow, this is who we really are. And I didn't understand it. I didn't understand my ancestry. I didn't understand who I could be. And so I reach out to my daughter to try and connect with her finally. And after all these years, she's not receptive to that, because she's been rejected all of her life. So it's up to me to get through to her, and without putting any guilt feelings on her. I'm the one that's guilty. It's not her. So I have to do all the work. I have to finally connect, because I finally start understanding who I am and who I came from. And that's the problem we have today. We as Black people have no clue, because we're not taught who we really are. We're not taught the greatness that we have come from. We're not taught that we're the first human beings to walk this earth. We're taught that we're lucky to be here, because otherwise we'd still be in a jungle somewhere. Talking about, oh. That's what they want you to believe.
Right.
And it's all lies. It's all lies. And we have to start counter-programming ourselves. It's like Hitler, the Goebbels, and the propaganda machine. If you say it enough, people start believing it. It's why we can't ever. That's what and I don't want to preach about people marrying outside their race, because or being outside the race, because I did that when I was in college. So I really try not to preach about it or talk about it. And I understand that if you're in an environment where there's nothing but other people, that you as a human being are going to gravitate because you want sex. Bottom line. But after you get older, you have to understand that the things that you have been told that are beautiful are not reality. The reality is we are beautiful, and we have to start programming ourselves. And I brought up Hitler and I brought up Goebbels because of the propaganda. You say things over and over and over and over, and people start believing it. Well, we've had 400 years of lies that have been repeated. We don't, it's the first president of not the United States, but the first president of the Sabir, help me out here.
Of America.
The Confederation.
Continental Congress.
Was said to be Hanson, a black man who kept the revolution going because he was rich enough to be able to fund to pay the soldiers. But you won't ever hear anybody say that. They'll deny it like crazy. Like they deny that, oh, Cleopatra's not black, she was Egyptian. I mean, she was Greek. Well, that's what you hear over and over because they don't want to know that a black woman was able to manipulate a Roman. And at the same time, the Romans, you have no clue who the Romans are. All you see is white people playing Roman.
Yeah,
that's not true. Right across Hannibal was, I mean, that's only one example. I mean, we're talking about taking a rowboat to Sicily.
There you go.
From northern Africa.
I just said that. I just said that when I was in Morocco, I took a ferry to Tangiers. When I was in Malta, you could take a rowboat, like you said. Malta is an island. You can go directly into Italy about 30 minutes, I think. It's a 30-minute ride to go directly into Italy. So when I was in these places, I was like, imagine if I had the money to do a real movie on all of it. I said, I would call Hawthorne James up. I'd be like, bro, we got it, dude. Let's get it popping. You follow me? So it takes finances to actually do all of this. The right.
And Hollywood's never going to put that kind of truthful movie out. We know that.
Just this yesterday, I saw where they're doing another story about Cleopatra, and they're making her a white woman. Just yesterday, this is the woman that one of the director or producers is the woman who would have Wonder Woman.
Oh yeah,
she's directed Wonder Woman, and now they're making Cleopatra once again. After all this struggle, after all of this out in the streets, they're still doing the same damn things because they don't give a damn about us. They don't care about the truth. All they know is what they want to do to maintain for them to be on top.
Well, we need producers and directors and writers and Moorish melanated men and women who are not compromised, that if we were to support them, I don't see where there would be a problem with support coming from, the Moorish community, the melanated community, if we were going to produce materials and of documentaries and movies that were accurate, that accurately portrayed and depicted us. And I think that's the problem, that most people, when we look at them, we think that if you're in Holly, I call it Holly weird, that you're compromised. But I'm assuming that everybody's not compromised. But I'm sure, the ones that have controlled it to the extent that we know it to be, those are the folks that would never put out anything that was truthful with regard to us.
Can I tell you something?
Well, I'm gonna tell you.
Go ahead, Hawthorne, because I want to share something with you too about what you said about if we've done things. I've done Out of Darkness. I'm not a more supported what I did. No more put up no money to help us do this. Hawthorne said that when he reached out to me to ask me to do this movie, I said, yo, okay, not a problem. But again, what did I say? It was a while ago. I said, yo, let's do another Stick Up Kids, but we got to get the money. You follow me? Who's really going to do that? If I come to the Moor and say, yo, y'all, I need like $100,000. You will hear masses of excuses. That's why I said create other allies. Go and travel. You have to it takes finances to travel to network with people. And I tell people that you got to do that. You got to be in certain places to link up with people who have money. We can't nickel and dime this. You have to have the money to do it. But if I said, yo, let's get this thing popping, I can produce this. I got information ungodly on all of this. Because of jealousy and envy amongst these Moors, they would never do it. And that is the reality. That's the real deal with it.
That's true, but we've got to change. We've got to change. If we want change, we've got to be a part of the change. I mean, um, you know.
No, it's true. But you know what? There is somewhere at the corner of my eye in all that's happening today, there is a glimmer of hope.
Yep.
Because I see people, and it's because of the internet. Because you can't stop information anymore. When I was a young kid, there was ABC, NBC, CBS, and sometimes PBS. Well, with 4 networks, you could control whatever it is that you wanted. Now, there are thousands of outlets. People can have a blog that they just go on the internet and create a blog. You can't stop information if you really are sincere about knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
You can't stop it. That's the glimmer of hope. It's like this whole political thing. That Biden is a racist, and he's proven himself to be a racist. Kamala Harris is worthless to me. She's dangerous, but people don't want to see that. And all I'm saying is know what you're voting for. Kamala Harris has a track record. She said to you in your face, she said, I'm not doing a damn thing specifically for you, but vote for me. What can I say to you? What can I say? Because it's like ADOS says vote down ballot, and I believe in that. Because if we get if you get half-ass, smart congressmen and senators, Trump can't do anything without the Senate. It's not just Trump, it is Mitch McConnell, it is Lindsey Graham. They're the ones who are allowing him to do this. If you stop him, if you have the power in the Senate to stop him, he can't do anything. Wind up. My parents, my grandparents, who are the most religious, most devout, hardworking people that you ever wanted to see, died without seeing change. Well, I'll be damned if I'm gonna die without seeing change and keep voting for the same old crud. I'm not voting for these people anymore. And I'll tell anybody, I'm writing my name in at the top of the ticket. And if you don't like it, that's on you. But I'm not doing the same old and expecting a different outcome ever again. I was, and this is only the second time I've said this. I was in the Hamptons about 8 years ago, and I met some people, some very powerful political people. They called me up 5 years ago and said, would you endorse Hillary Clinton? And I said, absolutely not, because I don't believe in her. Do you know, had I been just a selfish person, do you understand how much money and power I would have at this point in my life had I said, yeah, I'm going to be a shield for her?
Tell people to slow it down.
But I can't do that. My life is different. And it's always been different. I can't be a part of not helping my people. I can't. My people are my blood. And I don't know how I got to be that way. And I don't expect anybody else to be what I am. But I tell you, this is who I am. And I don't give a damn if anybody else believes what I believe. When all is said and done, and if you believe in whatever God or whatever it is you believe in, and when I meet face to face with that entity, and he can look me in my eye, and I can look him in his eye, and he can say, "What did you do?" I said, "You know what I did." Now, all I want to ask you is, why? Why did you create this nonsense? What is the purpose of this nonsense? What is the misery that you get some kind of pleasure in, apparently? But I'm going to be able to look him in the eye with a clear conscience and ask him.
Now, don't be surprised if you might be looking her in the eye.
Her, her, him, it, whatever.
Yes. Well, yeah. I mean, but I'm. It's so good though and refreshing, Hawthorne, to hear from someone who in a position such as yours to have integrity and to know, because there's so much dishonest honesty and illusion that we have been subjected to for so many years from the place where you have done a lot of great work, but we still realize, and I realize that you've been able to maintain your integrity, and we don't know what that looks like when this is all shakes, said and done. Particularly when you make public what side you stand on, and I'm in agreement with you with a lot of what you said, and I've just learned how to shut up sometimes because if I want to maintain relationships with people, I was like, I'll talk to you after the third, you know what I mean? But the way it goes. But I don't agree with a lot of things that our people have felt that we were obligated to support. And, we've been sold a bill of goods with regard to that. And it's good to hear someone like yourself not being on a television, touting something that is going to ultimately lead to our detriment.
It's rough. It's rough to walk this path. A lot of times when people tell me that I was offered money a lot of times to actually be on certain radio shows, like literally as a host, and I turned it down because it's my morals and because I told Hawthorne James this. I think I told you this before about DL Hughley when DL said to me, "I would love to bring you on my show, but I don't know what you might say." he know me. He know me for 10 years. But again, some people just don't want to rock that boat. They don't want to do that. And sometimes I have to sit back and shut up sometimes because I know I'm not, if I say certain things, I'm not going to get the finances I need to make stuff happen, and it's rough. It's really hard, man. This is a rough path, road. But some people like what he did for me, and I always give him this props for him to even reach out to me and for somebody as like him to say, yo, could you look at this script? Could you do this? Could you do that? I was like, cool. And I always thank him for that, always.
Well, it's appreciated. And I want to say to those who are, there's some comments coming forward, and I always deal with this, excuse me for the sounds, but there's always comments. People have issues with when we're not allegedly politically correct when it comes to, or etymologically correct with regard to how we respond or refer to us. And some people are at other places, and I want to say that everybody's not at the same place that they know, to say that black is we know that standing in law and all that. And if sometimes if sometimes it's not said, it doesn't mean a person is not knowledgeable or beneficial or woke or awakening. And that's the thing that burns me up so bad about some of the comments that I get here sometimes. And sometimes I have guests on the show and they may say black or they may say this, and instead of them listening to the content of what's being said, they picking apart little things. It was a time when you said black, you thought you were black, you thought you was African American. So please, let's be mindful. And let's, please on this, I'm going to say that. I'm saying that because I deal with this a lot with people, and I'm not going to correct every guest I have, and I'm not going to correct anybody. As a matter of fact, I want folks to listen to the content of what is and the spirit of what is being said.
And listen, this is what I call some of these Moors. They are extremists. They are extremists. That's what's going on. Hawthorne is very well what's going on. KRS-One may use black, but he also used Moor. But you have to speak to them where they're at.
Right.
That's what you have to do, or produce something and put it out there. We all understand what's going on. He just gave you a whole history lesson. He did the movie The Stick Up Kids. The Moors were mentioned in there. We did the movie Abandon Act. Those things are in there. So when people say that he kept using the word black, I knew some Moor was going to say something like that. But what have you produced for the people? Because like you said, you used the word black at one time. I still use it when I say certain things. Because I'm relating to a person as a teacher, you teach them as a teacher. You tell them this, and then you bring them up to this. You see what I'm saying? So come on, we don't have to do your part. That's it.
I appreciate, Huff, and I appreciate you, taking time out of your busy schedule and just, talking to us, even though we couldn't get the visual part there, just to hear your voice and have you, really sharing your heart with regard to, what you want to see for our people. I appreciate you. Like I said, I mean it. There's so many compromise in Hollywood that, you know, it's good. It's refreshing to speak to someone who's like, don't give a damn about what other people think. You know, you're going to stand for what's right.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and the bottom line is, you know, I say black. Yes, I say black to this day because it's just easy. And I know I could say more, but most people, when you say more, they have what's a more? So that's a conflict I don't want to get into at this point until you can bring them along like children. You
Right.
can't teach a kindergartner fifth grade ideal. So I still say black. Yes, of course I do. But my whole thing about my life is, and this is where I live my life, and I really do, and I have always lived it since I was a child. I don't know where I got it from. I don't know where I first heard it, but the basic premise is for me, I don't be free till you be free. And that's all I care about.
Mm-hmm.
Because I understand. You don't understand how many times in the last couple of years I've been stopped by the police. You don't understand that. It doesn't matter. And I have education up the yin yang. I have a bachelor's from Notre Dame. I have a master's from the University of Michigan. I had got scholarship offers from Yale and Cornell. I went to London and studied at the London Shakespeare Academy in London, England. I was at one time the highest black executive in Hollywood. It doesn't matter how much money you make. It doesn't matter how much education you have. As long as your skin color is the same, they look at you as the lowest of the low on the totem pole. And I understand that. So I don't give a damn how much celebrity I have. I don't give a damn how much money I made. And I haven't made that much money because I'm still a black man in America and they don't pay me my worth.
Mm.
But I know and I look out and I still say, I am Trayvon Martin. And I recognize that. I'm still that kid from the south side of Chicago who didn't have enough to eat.
Mm.
And I'll be damned if I'm going to leave the least of my people behind because I think I've got something. Kiss my behind.
Well, he gave the good part because he didn't say the other part because maybe we was off on the phone together. He probably say it, but you know, but yeah, man. Thank you, brother. I'm gonna try to do something in Delaware, bro. If I can get the finances to get you to come there too, because we talked about that before. Either we can do the short film that we did, and maybe that'd be one way that we can rally up the money and do some other stuff. So let's talk about doing that in Delaware. She has a place in Wilmington, Delaware.
And you know, we need some good movies and documentaries that give us the truth. And so I believe if those projects were started, that we probably can work because we have such a global audience. We could work to raise the finances as long as we knew it was really going to be done. You know, people are just fed up with supporting things that don't ever come to fruition. And you know, we want to make sure that we're doing some things that you know actually absolutely are going to go forward, and I think that would be a wonderful thing to pursue and to support. It doesn't take a whole lot because there are a lot of us, you know, a lot from a little from a lot actually will make it happen. No one person, you know, has to break their so-called bank if all of us supported something like this. And I think, you know, if you all get the script and the, you know, whatever the premise is for the movie or documentary and present it out there, we get the support.
Let me tell you what he told me about scripts. He said you can write a bunch of scripts. He said you need the finances. Ain't that right? Hard thought.
No, and whatever it is,
I know, but I'm just saying
after you know, some kind of treatment of what you planning treatment. Then, you know, something that folks know what it is that is trying to be done, then we work on getting the support for it. Yeah.
You know what's so crazy? My brother Amadeus Christ, the one we did Out of Darkness with. If you see, when y'all see this documentary, the way he did it, this is one. That's why it took 4 years to get it done. He said he's mixing down the sounds now. It's coming out in January. That film looks like you're watching the Game of Thrones. That's what it's going to look like.
Mm.
When the one who did this one, when we finish this other one, It looks like you're watching the Game of Thrones. This is how brilliant this brother is. And there is a book that's coming along with it. It's going to be a storybook that's coming along with the DVD, the documentary that's coming out. Heavy as the Crown. It's going to be so fire. So we've been working on that a lot. We have a lot of work that we are doing. It's coming.
Someone is asking, so they were trying to remember the movie that Hawthorne was in when he was talking about the Moorish history. Or was that the Stick Up Kids? Stick Up Kids. Yeah. Okay.
Stick Up Kids. And Mel Jackson was in there too, my brother from Soul Food. Mel.
Yeah.
Another brilliant brother that I talked to, man, and we working on trying to get some stuff done. I was going to do lectures with him. Yeah. Hawthorne, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah. But yeah, man, I want to thank you, brother. I'm going to give you a call in a minute when we get off. Anything else you want to share with us or ask me or Hawthorne?
Well, I think this has been great. I thank you again, like I said, for coming on the show. Hope to get you back on at another time. And, like I said, we just need to, if you got something and you want some support, and if Office Hours with Dr. G and the House of Reawakening Minds, if we could support getting that information out to the, to our viewing and listening.
I appreciate Dr. G.
I
do want to say, which is no longer at this point, no longer streaming. I did a film that was streaming until a Sunday night. It was streaming for about 5 or 6 weeks, and it is a film about the relationship between Abraham Lincoln and Frederick Douglass, because this is based on fact. They had several meetings in the White House, the two of them alone, and they met outside the White House like once or twice. So this film was based on, and it's just a two-person film. It was originally a play, and we filmed it as a film, and I shot it in San Diego, and it was streaming until till the 11th.
Oh wow!
And maybe, hopefully, they'll be able to sell it to some other entity. But Frederick Douglass, the lines in this play, the lines in this film, could be said the same today. 160 years later, we're talking about the same things. One line that struck me the most is, Frederick Douglass says to Abraham Lincoln, "My God, we have lived by your side for 2 centuries, and you are as ignorant of who we really are as ever." Is that not a line that could be said today?
Oh, absolutely.
To anyone?
Absolutely. Yes.
Think about that. 160 years later, we're talking about the same old crap. I'm tired of it. We have to stop this nonsense. Every civilization, from the Phoenicians to the Romans, to the Greeks, to the Egyptians, to every civilization. Think about it. 50, 60 years ago, during World War II, the British, the sun never set on the British Empire. Today, the only empire they have left is Northern Ireland. Every civilization rots from the inside out. Everyone goes up and everyone comes down. Now, what do you want to be? Do you want to keep this United States of America as a powerful nation? If you don't change, I've seen the beginning of the end. And that's all I've got to say right now.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hawthorne, man. I'll give you a call in a second, man.
Thank you.
Okay, bro. All right.
Thank you, Brother Sabir, Brother Hawthorne. Thank you both for being on the show. Thank each and every one of you for staying here for almost an extra 48 minutes. But this has been an excellent show. And Sabir, listen, we'll talk. You said you needed to talk to me anyway. We'll talk.
I'm working on right now, so
we'll do this. We'll do this again. Appreciate each and every one. Yeah, for tuning in. And you know what you said to me? You said, "Oh, I thought this was going to be 3 hours. I can't do 3 hours." Guess what? It's 2 hours.
I couldn't do it. It's just that What
2 hours and 48 minutes later.
what I was going to talk about for that long. That's what I was going to do.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell I was talking about? Then I said, okay, because I don't want to just make the 3 hours about my son.
I know. No, and we didn't.
I want to make it just about him, but it's about helping these young brothers because we have to have something for them. And honestly, I'm going to keep it 120. They don't want to hear nothing about no Moorish information. That's how it, but you got to know how to mingle and mix it up together. And that's what I respect about Hawthorne when we did that movie and the Stick Up Kids also, because you have to give them something that relates to them. You see, right. I said the conversation I had with my son, it was not relatable, even though Amir was raised in it. And that's why I told you before, it's a lot of things you can do while you're there. Because if it's only about just getting out of child support and now paying tickets and taxes and all of that, what's the point? Let's think, because people, I hear more say, well, we don't supposed to pay taxes, then where do you want your tax dollars to go? If you're not paying taxes, then where do you want your tax dollars to go? You follow me? So a lot of these things I hear, and it's like, we gotta, you gotta talk to these young brothers. You gotta talk to them.
We got to find a way to take the things that they are interested in, music and video games and sports and, even entertainment and to marry it into such a way that is beneficial and not detrimental.
Exactly.
We have to put it together and then use that to bring them into the knowledge of science and technology and engineering and the things that we were the beginning progenitors for. We did that. They learned that from us, not the other way around. I love that Proposition 13. It's like, we had it, but we lost it. And now we're taught by those, that we once taught things that we once knew. You know what I mean? So we got to get back to the place of sharing that knowledge and so forth. So I want to thank each and every one of you. Not sure where Sabir had to go to, but we are going to end.
I was looking for something. I did a book on Antonio Gaudi. I did a photo book on Antonio Gaudi. And
you mentioned that, yeah.
Yeah, and I was going to show the book because I have one coming out on Tunis, one coming out on Morocco. So it's basically like my photos and a little bit of history of those places I traveled. So, but even to do a lecture and show the youth who Gaudi is, you know what I mean? Like, these are the things we have to teach them. Like, okay, let's make that architect fun. You know what I mean? Let's make
architecture, yeah.
Because the reality, again, the whole key is the fifth element. And the fifth element is knowledge of architect, knowledge of, real music, okay, that's me. That's where I'm at with it, reaching up, So yeah, I want to thank you though, but my battery's dying everywhere.
Okay. All right, then listen, it's been fun. It's been real. Let me see. There's probably some ending
Wait, you can shoot. Go ahead.
This plan yet. I like how all this is planned and yet none is mentioning. Okay. All right, religious person. So it's just some people are just whatever.
What happened? No, say it. What? So I can address it. This is me.
No. Yeah, people are asking me for people to be on, and some of the people they asked me to be on have talked about me like a dog, and I'm just not going to address it. But
really?
We won't even get into that. Have said negative things about things I've done, so I don't know why you would want to be on this platform. I'm just going to put that out there. They know who they are, so they got their own platform. So that's all I'm going to say. So I just don't. I can't. One thing about me is I can't fake it. You know what I mean?
I can't fake it neither.
Yeah, so I can't fake that. And so anyway, but we'll see. Thank you. Thank you very much.
No doubt.
And
anytime.
Like I said, thank you for inviting Hawthorne James to be part of it, the interview, and he added to it, and we do appreciate it. And with that, I'm going to close out with my music that you won't rock to, but it is my theme song. I got folks that like my theme song, including me. But until next time. Thank you. All right, we gonna leave right now on that.
Peace and love, man.
Really? Who's she? Yeah, that's me. Dr. G. 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 Really? Who's she? Yeah, that's me.